and welcome to the full city council meeting for June 21st, 2022. Everyone's here. Welcome.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see who was in. I had a big announcement on Zoom and protocol, and you guys ruined it. All right, anyways, the clerk will call roll for attendance.
Anderson Burgos,
I'm here.
Bartley,
Here.
Gibner,
Here.
Jordan,
Here.
Maldonado Velez,
Here.
McGee,
Here.
McGivern,
Here.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Here.
Coelho, Israel Rivera,
Here.
Jenny Rivera,
Here.
Tallman,
Here.
Bacon.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
In the city of Holyoke.
And the city council.
In the end of the fiscal year.
Amen.
I was just going to say welcome to Midnight Madness. It's not the basketball season, but it could be midnight tonight.
Oh, we already did the budget, so.
And the people of Holyoke. All right, so a couple announcements. Councilor Bartley was pulled first for voting. Like I said, I did have an announcement, but you ruined it. Thanks. But we'll still have to tell you. If we do have a member that's on Zoom, then Jeffrey did attend an open meeting law review. If someone from the council is on Zoom, the requirement is that we do a roll call for everything. So when we say motion to take up 1, 2, 3, and 4 as a package and then vote on it, roll call.
Oh, well, good.
In order to get around that tediousness, we could go up front and say, motion to, if you're going to package things and not that we don't have to do a roll call, and we do the roll call on that, so you can just go forward as we normally do. It's just a formality, but the state is requiring it. We don't have to do that tonight because everyone's here. But just for future notice, we'd have to make that motion up front, so we don't have to.
Question,
take our
Mr.
time.
President?
Yes.
Do we have to go back for 3 years and redo it?
No.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
That's why meetings aren't always good.
And subcommittee as well, I was just told. So one, thank you, Jeffrey, for attending that meeting. He did say, did you want to attend? I said, absolutely not. No, just kidding. He did it for us, and it was very helpful to get that. As we go forward, we do it correctly. It's not like we were given notice on it, but Jeffrey got us up to speed. We have a few guests here tonight. Before we get to that, I have to catch up on some other things. If you notice my pretty detail up front. One is my very good friend, Piper May Sullivan, on July 7th. This is Piper May right here. Will be turning 7. So to Piper May Sullivan, happy birthday, little one. The other one, Bad Dad. Last meeting that we had was the 7th, and this beautiful little lady, Molly Murphy McGee, turned 7. They will be having their joint birthday party, but I just want to say to my little girl, happy birthday.
All right. Happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Um,
What about poor Miles?
Miles had it, that was in January, but if you want to sing to Miles, he'd be very happy.
Belated happy birthday, Miles.
All right, so those are done. That's done. Now we get into the other one. So we did vote as a group to offer up a proclamation to Jose Garcia, not a stranger to the city of Holyoke. I phoned a friend, the same friend who does our proclamations. I'm going to ask Patty Devine to bring in Mr. Garcia. All right, so the city council voted unanimously to give a proclamation to Jose Garcia in recognition of having served with distinguished honor to the Department of Public Works as commissioner for 26 and a half years. 26 and a half years. I want to make sure people understand that commitment. Outstanding job, dedication to the city of Holyoke. We can't thank you enough for the work that you did for us. It's signed by myself, the city clerk, for the date of June 21st, 2022. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just like to say thank you for all the Board of Aldermen for putting up with me for 26 and a half years. And I'd like to also thank the mayors that they were empowered to put me there, because with their trust, I would have never been there. So thank you so much. I really love the city of Holyoke. But it's time for me to retire now. It's somebody else take over the reins. So thank you again.
Thanks for your work over the years, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Good job. Thank you.
All right, we also have some other special guests with us tonight, and that is the Holyoke High School Knights varsity volleyball team. There's members here representing. I'd ask them to come up, please.
All right.
So the coach could not make it tonight. However, we'll get the proclamation to the coach, and we did get a proclamation for each player. Excuse me. It's in recognition of the 2022 season, the varsity volleyball team winning the championship season and having a winning record of 15-1. So, outstanding season. Thank you for everything that you did. And with that, we do have Willie Lopez and Andre Feliciano. Am I saying it right? So for both of you, congratulations. And would anyone like to say anything about the season, or no pressure? Absolutely, jump on in.
All right.
So, there was only four returning players from last year's team, so we were all really nervous coming into this season. But we saw a lot of great talent at tryouts, and we became really excited after a couple practices. So we had a lot of energy, and we came into this season strong. So we want to thank everybody for your support, and yeah.
Go Knights.
Good job. Congratulations.
Well spoken. Nice job.
Good job.
Nice job.
Congrats.
I'd like to have a motion to go out of order to late file I.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Late file I by myself, order that the city council give a proclamation to Bob Parent for his years of dedicated service. Motion would be to take up final action tonight. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. I'd ask another special guest tonight, the mayor, to invite up Mr. Parent. Getting in trouble?
What was the reason you want me to? I told him what you said, but he didn't believe me.
I was doing the best I could. I want to thank the mayor and the city council for helping on this one. We were trying to make it a surprise for Bob. As we all know, never, and I don't want to pick on any city hall employee or say it, Bob is just a phenomenal engineer. And we couldn't ask for a better person to doing the job, as well as coming to the city council, informing us in a way that we could work with the issue, deal with the issue, and getting it done in a timely fashion. You have been, as the mayor would say, a Cadillac as an employee for the city of Holyoke. Mercedes-Benz now, he's moving up. But it really has been a pleasure working with you, Bob. And I found out that your last day is Thursday. So I know you're going to stand for a little bit to help out, but your official last day is Thursday. So we want to make absolutely sure that we recognized you and thanked you for everything that you've done for the city of Holyoke. We can't thank you enough. And I will share one story. Driving up Westfield Road, and as we all know, Bob, every meeting just here's the info, just get it done. There's Bob and some other people, brand new park at Merrifield. It is beautiful. And I snuck up with my shorts and walkout gear, and I hear Bob saying, Code Section 25A-4, little c, little 5, little 6, little 7. And the guy's like, you're wrong. Excuse me? I'm wrong? Mass General Law says, bum, 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 bum. I said, oh my, I've walked into the wrong party. And it was Bob, once again, making sure that things were done right. Our children were safe. And he wasn't angry, but man, if you ever thought I was boring as a tax attorney, this guy has got me beat. No, just kidding. He's just a phenomenal resource, and the wealth of knowledge that you have, it's just been a blessing for the city of Holyoke. Thank you. To the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the council for allowing me to join you in offering a proclamation to Mr. Parent. And Bob, on behalf of the citizens of Holyoke, congratulations on your second retirement, I think. Your retirement of the retirement of the retirement. As Holyoke City engineer, over his years of service to the city, Mr. Parent has become known for his technical knowledge, his calm manner, and his patience with all who seek his guidance and advice. Through the time of the pandemic, Bob Parent has been a rock and a steadying influence. He certainly will be missed. And I gotta say, although it doesn't surprise me too much, because Bob was a interim town administrator. So, from one manager to another, it doesn't surprise me at all, Bob. So, congratulations. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors, and any little bit of time that you have to continue to help us, as will be greatly appreciated. So thank you for everything, Bob.
So with that, on behalf of the city council, we'd like to recognize Bob Parent, or Robert Parent, for the many years of dedicated service as city engineer, whose guidance and advice and knowledge are second to none. Signed by myself as the president, Brendan Murphy McGee as the city clerk, this June 21st, 2022. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Quiet there.
Thank you for your work, all the best. Karen.
Gonna miss you. Thanks, everybody.
Without the title.
And I'd like to thank Patty Devine for once again getting us all the proclamations and doing that, as a service to the city council. We greatly appreciate it. With that, we have one item laid on the table. Any action?
No. We're still waiting for a legal opinion on that, Mr. President.
All right, so off to public comment. So public comment, we do have up first, if she still, is Libby Hernandez still here? Yep, there she is. So public comment, just a reminder, it's a minute and a half. We'll do it, I'll just give the wave at 1.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Perfect. Just name and address, that's all.
Sure. Libby Hernandez, 245 Walnut Street, here in Holyoke. And I'm here, I don't know what, because I couldn't open up the agenda on my phone, but I'm not sure if it's an item in the agenda tonight. But I am here to speak in favor of the letter that was submitted, and our honorable mayor is supporting it, to be able to remove the cap for the salary for the new DPW director. As we all know, we're in search. We have been in search of new leadership in the DPW, which is one of the most important departments in our city. They're basically our first responders in case of emergencies, and right now we need a department manager. And to note also, adjacent towns have been hiring directors at the salary range of 118,000. So this is what we're trying to do in our city, so we can attract and retain talent, someone that's invested. And also, I did also know that there's also a request to reduce the experience to 5 years.
1 minute.
And that's all that I have to say. So I'm hoping that this honorable city council can review this and support the efforts of the commissioners and the efforts of the city, which is in need of an amazing DPW director. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Thank you. We do, but Counselor?
Yeah, I was going to make, to thank Commissioner Hernandez, and I was going to make a motion to suspend the rules to take up items 2, 4, and 36 as a package and to send them all to the ordinance committee, which is the request that she has made, her and the other commissioners, and the mayor. That's items 2, 4, and 36.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up 2, 4, and 36 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So 2 is a letter in support of DPW board request to remove the current salary cap. 4 is a letter requesting the council remove the salary cap. And 36 is from Councilor Vacan, Bartley, Jourdain. Under certain special circumstances, a supermajority approval of the city council, the starting pay for a position of the salary set by ordinance can exceed the mid-range but not exceed the maximum. Such a special circumstance shall have no effect on any other salary range at the rate of a city employee. All to ordinance.
Yes, so we can act on those as quickly as possible to help out the DPW, because I think what they've run up against, as the commissioner articulated, is that they need to go over the mid-range in order to attract the ideal candidate, and we want to help them to be able to do that.
All right, so 2 ordinance on all 3. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Back to public comment. Next is Patty Devine.
Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Patricia Devine. I reside at 58 Magnolia Avenue in Holyoke. Dear honorable counselors, first I would like to congratulate the Holyoke High varsity volleyball team, and I heard the other night that Joe McGivern was going to challenge them to a match, so I think they should do that.
City Council's going to challenge them.
Yeah. I mean, I saw
I
you
know right now.
years ago as a basketball team, so I think volleyball will be more your style. I appear before you tonight. Oh, and I'd also like to obviously thank my friend Jose Garcia for his leadership. I appear before you tonight in regards to item 45, asking that you give item 45 leave to withdraw. As a former city councilor for 16 years, I have never recalled any councilor ever filing such an order as item 45. I do not recall any councilor ever asking the fire department for this type of information. Additionally, I do not recall any orders asking for this type of information from police, school department, teachers, DPW, city hall employees, or any other employee of the city to give this personal information to the council. As a former fire commissioner, I certainly would have firsthand knowledge of any disciplinary action against any fire department employees' abuse of working hours if it ever existed. In addition, my experience includes 12 years as the Assistant Business Manager of the Office and Professional Employees International Union, Local 6, which represented about 6,000 people, 6,000 members throughout Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut. With that experience and knowledge of labor law, I would respectfully ask this council to give Order 45 leave to withdraw. I fear that if this is not redrawn, the fire department will file an unfair labor practice charge against the city and the city council, thus creating an adversarial situation that doesn't need to exist. There is no reason to ask for private information, especially since it's never been asked before. If there are any abusive working hours, I trust that the fire chief and commissioners would handle it. I believe if any city councilor wants this information, he or she should inquire directly with the fire chief and fire commission and ask to be put on their next agenda. For that, I thank you for your time, and I would appreciate your vote to give this order leave to withdraw.
Thank you. Next is Nancy Cabron.
Hi, I'm Nancy Capron, and I live at, I say it wrong, 72 Congress Avenue here in Holyoke. And for many, many years, well, the few years that I've been watching city council meetings, and once in a while watching finance meetings before the most recent election, people have talked about the need to raise the property values in the city in order to save the city, because we don't have enough revenue to run the city. One night, recently, the councilor who identifies themselves as the fiscal watchdog was impassioned in his statement that it is not fair how we fund cities. He might have even included it's not fair how we fund schools. And everyone on the left knows it's not fair how we fund schools. It does not create an equitable education system here in the United States. So my landlord's property values went up 30%, saving the city, and my rent did. Now, I'll admit to you that my rent was way under market value, but I make, in my 12th year, some time off in the pandemic, $12,000 to $17,000 a year. I'm not on SSDI, and I don't have a subsidized rental unit. My rent has now gone, if I make $12,000, my rent has gone up to within $3,000 is my disposable discretionary cash. But what I want to say is this, that the minute you put a market rate building in wards 1 or 2, none of those buildings are stabilized. None of those buildings have, for the last decade, you could have been taking action to stabilize housing for poor people while you tried to attract middle class people into the city. And one thing you could do is to do the first right of refusal. That is to pass the ordinance that Rebecca Leasy and Nelson Roman submitted years ago that gives people the opportunity when their apartment building goes on the selling block to be the first people to offer to buy it.
Okay.
That's it. Thanks. I'm watching at home.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone online? Spencer Fox Peterson online? For online? No, Zoom's still active right now. It's only a vote if we're suspending rules and you were online.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Spencer Fox Peterson. I'm calling from 51 Portland Street. I am calling in favor of raising the cap of the DPW pay rate for the commissioner and just in general the employees. I would push for that. The DPW is more important than anything else that we have in our city. It provides a safe place to live with clean water and trash off the streets. The list of positives goes on. I also would like to tie it to my pet project of defunding and abolishing our police system in the United States, but specifically in our backyard. We've seen during this Uvalde situation down in Texas that's unfolding that they are not useful. They take up a lot of our budget. They leave people out to dry. And the reason they do this is because the Supreme Court precedent that has been set 3 times since the 1960s on the way to hurt the working class people in this country for the capitalists. And some of you all know who I'm talking about that exists in the city, and that's who the police protect. They don't protect us, and I am a landowner. That said, we have examples in our own backyard of taking money from the police. Greenfield and Somerville are the most recent ones to take giant chunks from the budget, but still a drop in the bucket. We spend way too much money on policing and incarcerating people without solutions to the problems, and we could fund our schools, we could fund our DPW, give good jobs, and move on from that. And I would like to point out with the Uvalde police, they're showing that they're not willing to be transparent. That strikes a real strong chord with me because me and my partner have been trying to get information from our police department, and every time we have tried, we've had to go to the Secretary of State to get them, to prod them to actually release documents. We're just talking emails, nothing hard to produce. So we need to have a good hard look at our own police department, and we need to cut the budget and give it to other departments or give it back to the taxpayer, which goes down to not just landlords and landowners, but also the tenants who pay taxes to exist in the city.
At our time.
And that's what I have to say, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you. Anyone else? And that is it for online. That's it for in here. We're on to item 3. This is from Brenna Murphy McGee. It's the MMC budget cuts for us. Motion is to receive.
Mr. President, if I could, after.
Yep, so everyone has a copy of this. I want to thank the clerk for doing this. Every year she does this and breaks down all our votes in order to show what we did cut, did not cut, and then the final tally. So it's very good work that goes into us, so we thank her for that. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. On this item, I just thank the city clerk for what she does. I wanted to make a motion to suspend rules, though, in a minute.
So this one is motion to receive those. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I can make a motion to suspend the rules to go out of order. There are possibly 5 items. Let me explain once for all 5. For one or more reasons, as we approach the end of the fiscal year, we have requests from department heads for transfers, either from free cash, which will not be available as of July 1, or into items that are necessary for between now and July 1 to finish their fiscal year off. I want to thank our auditor and our administrative assistant for the past week. They've been working with department heads. I know many of us have received emails, some of us emails and phone calls, explanations, a chance to ask questions if we had any. And the reason I like to proceed to go out of order because in chambers we have 1 department head, and I believe on Zoom we have 1 or 2 department heads. just so that we don't have to wait until the long down this agenda before they come up. So the motion I'm making for the first one is item number 26.
I'll second that.
All right, motion is go out of order to 26. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 26 from Councilor McGivern. In accordance with Mass General Law 44, Section 53A, the city hereby accept the Mass in Motion $110,752 grant. So the motion would be receive, adopt, pass the first reading.
Mr. President, if I could suspend the rules to allow Aaron Vega, our OPED department head, to approach.
And
I'll second it.
motion to allow the department head to speak. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
This is a 10-year grant. This is a 10-year reoccurring grant that's been around that long. Some of us are familiar with it, but each time a new edition of the grant comes in, it does require our approval for appropriation and setting up the proper procedure for expending and accounting for it. If we could ask Mr. Vega just to run through it quickly.
There you go.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Mr. President. Councilors, thank you for your time and consideration on this. So the Mass in Motion grant is a grant that the city has been getting for close to 10 years. It wound up in the OPED office a couple years back. Thank you for your work on helping me staff my office as well. So this now grant that we received with the Mass in Motion, this round will be a 4-year grant at $110,000 and change, $752. For 4 years, there'll be 2 3-year renewal possibilities, so this could be up to 10 years of this position. The beauty of this grant being a little bit bigger is that it will fully fund the position. Before, you may recall that the position was funded in my office, and it was also matched with city funds to have a senior project manager position, but now that's fully funded by the city. And this will be a separate position, fully funded by the state. Working with Tanya, who again has been amazing to work with in my time here. Her team is great in the auditor's office. All benefits will be covered with this position. If they so choose to have city health care, unlike my check where half of it comes from me and half comes from the city, the entire amount for whatever health care plans they require or accept would be fully covered by this. They would not be in the, as far as I know, they would not be in the Holyoke retirement system because they are just a seasonal or temporary employee, even though it's a full-time, but it's a grant-funded position. I guess there's precedent with this with the schools and other departments. And so I think that's the crux of it. I guess the one thing I would say, and Councilor Vacan, thank you for your question earlier, since this is not a city-funded position, and we have a 4-year commitment, if something crazy happened, like Pandemic 2 or a zombie apocalypse, and the state said, we're not giving you this money for Mass in Motion, the position would go away. The position and the program is completely grant funded, so if for some reason the state pulled this funding, we're in no obligation to keep this position or keep the program going. So I think, but
Councilor
it's a
McGivern?
good
The discussion, I would make a motion that we, under suspension of rules, move to the first reading for the purpose of adopting.
Second.
Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, to the chair, to Aaron. Aaron, thank you for being here.
Of course.
The memo from June 7th is incredibly vague, and that's okay. I wouldn't expect you to delineate every single thing, but you are obligated through city ordinance to give updates to the city council. I would hope on at least an annual, but maybe sooner, relative to this grant for whatever years it runs. So years 1, 2, 3, and 4, and years 5 through 10. I understand we've had this grant for a while. I don't recall in my time here even one update on what this grant has produced. Not one. So that's a requirement by city law that we passed. I don't remember when it was, but it's an ordinance, which is a law. Just so we're clear on that. And so you're required to give us an update. So my hope is that you'll send a communication to us maybe for the August or September meeting, and then we can get you and the project coordinator into I hope a DGR meeting just to give an update, and we can do that on a regular basis. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right,
That sounds great. And September would be perfect because we do have the position posted now. Closes on July 5th. We hope to have it filled by August. So coming in September would be great to give an update with the new director and the scope of work. Absolutely.
Anyone further? So the motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. The clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the grant.
Bartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
We voted to approve that one. Councilor McGivern?
I make a motion to suspend the rules to proceed to item number 29.
Motion
I'll
is go to
second that.
item 29. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
if I could, Mr. President, this is a free cash request to transfer. The reason being to act on it this evening is if we don't act on it, the free cash will become, because we appropriated it so late in the year, this free cash would go back into the budget for July 1st. The requested transfer is from our auditor. She is on Zoom with us. This is to wipe out some deficits that I think we've all been experiencing what a deficit is, especially in grants. These are school department deficits. There is a 6 scholarship funds, and I believe 7 scholarship funds. The last one is the class of 1949. For different reasons, these accounts have run a deficit, unbeknownst at one time. None of them are new. None of them have happened in the last 2 to 3 years. Some of them go back where they began in the late 1940s. But if we don't reconcile by wiping out these deficits, they will continue to be a deficit in the end of the year auditing, and therefore could be subject to tying up free cash for future years. The auditor is with us to explain why this transfer, how this transfer will take place, and answer any questions. I did learn one thing that made me feel a little bit better, because I've been asking a question about why is the city responsible for scholarships. Under Mass General Law, when an alumni or any group dedicates money into a scholarship fund, the municipality is allowed to set up an investment fund. Therefore, the municipality becomes legally responsible to monitor the investment fund. Tanya believes, I think she'll tell us, that most of these deficits were caused because the investment fees, years that they may have lost money, years that they gained money, were not properly reconciled in the given year. So again, this money transfer would wipe out the deficits for any future years.
All right, so just for those, 29 is that we hereby transfer $5,544.68 from free cash to the scholarships that were mentioned by Councilor McGivern. Also, Councilor McGivern, Maria Pagan is here as another department head. I know you said there's only one, but she is in attendance here. Just to let you know.
I'm getting a glare right here. I can't.
I know.
I can't see past Peter.
I'm just letting you know.
Thank you. I didn't see it. Thank you, Maria.
All right, so
Mr.
first,
President.
Councilor Rivera.
If I may, my agenda doesn't have from 29 to 33, and neither does this paper one I just grabbed too.
Yeah, I just noticed that mine went to the official one. That's why I read it.
All right, now just yeah, I was gonna say thank you.
Councilor Bartley.
Well, I want to thank the clerk. My agenda came out perfect, so thank you, Madam Clerk. So just through the chair, first of all, to the finance chair. Joe, do we have a sense as to, so this is a Holyoke High School class in 1947 scholarship, 1725. After we pay this off, what happens to that particular scholarship fund?
That's a good question, Councilor Bartley. I'm not sure if, I don't have the answer. I'm not sure if we can suspend, well.
No, hold on a sec, Joe. Just hold on. Just if I could, yeah, I'll ask her, but I'm going to ask her a couple more. But I think I know the answer. But and I'm not putting. First of all, I want to thank Joe for his leadership on all this, because he's been right down the line on top of all this stuff since we got the bad news 5 years ago about the $1.7 million, including scholarship funds, police accounts, fire accounts, Holyoke High School accounts. Unreal. Joe, the Dr. Edward Carballo Scholarship, 149709, same thing?
That's correct. And I think, Councilor Bartley, the answer to the first question would be, because they're in deficit, once we wipe out, these monies have been paid out, by the schools. Once we wipe out the deficits, they'll be zeroed out, because you wouldn't be in deficit if there was any money there.
Okay, so that's a question, so just so the public doesn't think we're talking nonsense, the George Eliot Scholarship, the Robert and Jules Schuer Scholarship, Francis Moquin Scholarship, James Bolduc, and the HHS class of 1949. So these are all real scholarship funds. So just through the chair to the auditor, Madam Auditor?
Yes.
Thank you. Just if you would clarify for the public, once these are paid off, do these scholarships cease to exist?
Yes, they no longer have any funding, and they will be deactivated so that no more expenditures can be made out of these funds.
Okay, and Madam, through Chair, Madam Auditor, did we ever identify specifically what entity or what person caused these particular overruns? Or are we just going to say it's just a market condition?
We could say it's a market condition because that would be true. However, there was a few years where these scholarships were not reconciled, and that goes for all of the scholarships with the city. The investment, they were making money, they were losing money, and just last year we reconciled all of those accounts. And what we had to do is post all of the earnings and the losing for the investment, and so it caused many of them to go into deficit when all of the money had already been spent on scholarships. So that's most of what you're seeing right here.
And then, Madam Auditor, through the chair, can we do we have other scholarships that are pending, and other scholarships that are going to be subject to more stringent controls?
We do. We've taken really good control over the scholarships. We've worked with the treasurer. We know that in her book, these are zero. Also, the fund accounts are zero on the school side. So we know that they're closed up. We're keeping better track. We're posting the monthly information, so that way we're always up to date with the market and the investment.
And my last question, Madam Auditor, through the chair, since you said we have outstanding scholarships, you said that they are subject to better controls, is it possible for you to send a communication to this body for the September meeting listing every single one of the scholarship funds for Holyoke High and what their balances are as of, say, July 1st?
Absolutely.
Okay, do I have to file an order to do that, or can you just do that?
She can just do it. She can just do it.
Okay.
You requested it.
Can I just make a motion now, just so we put it on the record, Mr. President?
So the motion is to receive a copy of the all the scholarships, right?
Yeah, and just have it sent to us as a communication by the first meeting in September.
By September.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Anyone further for this one? Seeing none, so the motion is to pass the first receive, adopt, pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is to pass the second reading. Clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee, McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. Councilor McGivern?
Make a motion to suspend the rules to take out of order item number 25.
Second that.
Motion go to item 25. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? My glasses. From Councilor McGivern, order that transfer of $5,000 as follows from financial manager to reference librarian. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us know that our longtime librarian director is with us, Maria Pagan. This is I know everybody's received a couple emails from Maria this week. It's kind of hard to do, as we cannot do questions and answers as a group via email, as everybody knows. So Maria's down here to answer any questions that have not yet to be answered. But essentially, this is a payroll, a transfer to help Maria, to allow Maria to reconcile her payroll for the final month of the fiscal year. I would suspend the rules to allow Maria to approach to answer any questions if there are any.
Motion to
Second
suspend
that.
rules to allow for Q&A. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any questions for Counselor Bartley?
Yeah, just through the chair, Maria, welcome. Nice to see you again. I just clarify for me what it is we're doing here. I see the reference librarian, and I see the transfer. The deficit is 3256. Is that so? Why are we transferring $5,000? The deficit's 3256, or am I misreading this?
Well, like I mentioned in the email, last year, if you recall, when the new salary schedule passed, I was not given an updated template to request the funds, and they were put into the old-fashioned same old template. So then in August, I had to go and ask for transfer to put them in the right location so people would get paid, because if there's no fund in a specific line item, I cannot pay those staff. So I had to do those transfer. In doing so, because of the summer recess that you had, the request came like in late July. By the time it was taken in August and everything was changed, it had already been 2 payrolls, which I still could not pay certain people because the money was still not in their account, which made me kind of overspend in the reference to pay those people. Once they went into the account, everything was fine. And because this month is a 3 pay period, that's why I was notified about that deficit late. If the 3rd period was earlier, probably a couple of weeks ago, you would have had me asking for that transfer. But that's because I had to do an extra pay for people that their funds were still not in their account.
So are you saying the 3256 is not the actual number? Are you saying because of how you just explained it, that number might go up a little bit and you need the extra cushion? Is that what you're saying?
No, what happened, I had about 5 people in the reference section before the salary schedule. One of them was doing reference and also acquisition. She retired. I did not replace her position. So from 20, I have 19. Another had part-time was reference and part-time was collection development. So when the new schedule came, I was able to add that title. So I took the acquisition and the collection development, combined those 2 positions, made one, which is the collection development. So the money was put into the reference instead of the collection because it was not listed in the template. So I had to transfer that money. The other one was the archivist. She was doing part-time reference, part-time archivist. The archivist is a position that is in the ordinance, so I was able to put money also there. So now she's a full-time archivist in the library. That's where the monies were transferred to, those positions that were someplace else because they didn't fit in the schedule that the library had at that time.
Okay, and then just for the FY23 budget, are we going to have we properly budgeted for all of your reference and libraries and archivists and all that? We've
now reference, we have only 2 people in reference, and that is taken care of.
Taken care of.
Now the archivist, that's been taken care of.
Yeah.
The collection development, that's been taken care of. The reference library assistant has not been taken care of because that was cut.
Okay, well, it's taken care of in a different way. So, so what you're saying is, and we like having you visit, but you visited many times last year, and now you visit many times this year.
Yep.
So next year, we don't think we're going to see as much because it sounds like you.
You'll see me again in August.
I'll see you in August for what?
To transfer for that position that was cut, so I can move some money around.
Thank you.
Anyone further? So the motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Excuse me. me. Motion is to pass the second reading. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
For your vote, you approve that one. Counselor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could make a motion to suspend the rules for the purpose
Thank
of
you, everybody.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
proceeding out of order, and also for the purpose of taking up a late filed order, which is, I believe, late filed F, a transfer from CSO Engineering of $46,002.80, Fire Station Project Matter $40,793.56 into school feasibility.
All right. Motion is to
Second.
proceed out of order to late file F. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? F is ordered that we transfer $86,796.36 from what Councilor McGivern has said to the feasibility for Peck's, it says Lawrence and Peck, for the same amount. Motion would be to suspend the rules, take up final action tonight. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The auditor spoke with me late last week, and there's, as I think everybody's got the package because this is late filed, obviously, and there was a communication that she had received early June, and a scramble to find monies to reconcile what she's about to explain, which I cannot do a good of a job explaining as she can. But the money she's found is, I think we recognize part of it. I know one is a vacancy. I think the other one was a partial vacancy through the fiscal year itself. And these were short-term borrowing bans for a project that's ongoing with the middle schools in within the city. And I'm going to stop there and let the auditor, if I could suspend the rules to again allow her to give us an explanation for this and the reasons why it might be important that we take care of it before July 1.
Still
I'll second
under
that.
suspension of rules, so the auditor can answer questions. To the auditor?
Okay, so this order is to cover a deficit for the Lawrence and Peck School feasibility. I don't know if you all remember this. I came at the end of it, but there was one order for $800,000 for a feasibility for the Lawrence School. And then, I don't know if it was a year or two later, they did another feasibility study on the Peck for $300,000. And they grouped this together as one feasibility study. The unfortunate part was that you can only bond a feasibility study for 5 years. And the bond anticipation note was in our system for 3 years, and we couldn't bond because the project wasn't complete, and we needed the audit from the MSBA in order for us to be able to bond from it. So it sat in short-term notes. And as that happened, they required that the city pay down on the principal balance. So on 9/24 of 2021, we should have done an appropriation for $45,200, and then on 1/27/2022, there should have been another appropriation made for another $45,200. I know that's not the total because there was some premium put in there, but meanwhile, we're cleaning up the Munis system, and we're finding that there's a lot of bond projects that have surpluses in them from earlier than 2010. And so what the rule is and the guidance is that you can take bond surplus and you can appropriate it to another bond as long as it has a term limit of the same or less. So this is a feasibility study, so that's a little difficult because it's only 5 years. But I went through Brian Smith's hard files, and I did find in the surpluses this CSO engineering planning feasibility study. It was from 1997. And this fire station, this was an order from 2007 to hire an OPM. to help with the fire station, the building of the fire station. So those being feasibility studies, I thought instead of having this deficit hit our free cash, that we could do a transfer appropriation to cover this deficit before the year ends. Any questions?
Good, Mr. President, just a motion would be to pass the first reading. And just for clarification, Tanya wasn't here at the moment, in time when we did this. The first feasibility study was when the schools came in with one middle school proposal. And then shortly after, the same year, they came back and said they reconsidered, talked to the MSBA, and wanted to submit the two middle school proposal. We know the history of it. There was actually two different votes taken on that. That's why it's broken down. This, and I forgot to ask Tanya this, but we were told both of these items were reimbursed by the MSB at 80%. So Tanya, I hope that all we're paying down is the portion of what the city owes and not the 80% that the MSBA is paying.
They did reimburse, but I believe it was more like 65% and not 80%. I'm not sure if there was expenses in there that were not reimbursable.
I'll stop there because I'm going to say 80% of what is reimbursable, but then I'll get into I'll stop there because the MSB doesn't like it when I say it.
Anyone further? Councilor Jordan.
This says the H.B. Lawrence study was authorized in 2014. So we're required, if I'm listening to these, if I'm reviewing these numbers correctly, it says that it cost $800,000, the state paid $664,000. So we're required to pay $136,000, and it looks like there were 3 payments of about $135,000 each. So why is there still an outstanding amount on that of 40? Let's see, how much is for the Lawrence one? It's again, I would ask all these questions in committee, but I'm not given an opportunity to have this in finance. So let's just say it's 40 something thousand. Is how much is at Lawrence? Like, how does the numbers add up? I don't.
So what this is saying, if you look at the email from June 8th from Abby Jeffers from Hilltop.
Yep.
What happened was the first authorization, that $800,000, we got $664,000 of MSBA grant, but we were supposed to pay down, meaning in cash, $45,200 on 9/24/2021. We should have paid down cash. $45,200 we should have paid down 1/27/22. So that in itself is the $90,400. So that's where that money is coming from, because we never paid cash. It sat in a short-term note, and they're not going to allow us to bond for the 5 years because the years have already passed. So for 2 years, that $45,200 would have been the principal balance that we would have paid if we had bonded.
I see. So what you're saying is those payments weren't made; those were due, but we didn't make the payments.
Right.
Oh. Is that
They
correct?
weren't technically due. They weren't technically due to anywhere, but the city should have at that point appropriated that pay down into that bond fund, knowing that the time had expired. I did not know that.
So we authorized it in 2014, and theoretically we had 5 years from that period of time to pay it.
It's from whenever the project actually started.
I'm sorry,
It
you
didn't
cut.
necessarily start in 2000. What?
Can you repeat that, Tanya? We didn't.
The project itself didn't begin in 2014. It was authorized in 2014, but it started in 2016 or 17, I believe. So once that started, that's when your time starts to elapse.
So how much of the 136 did we pay? Only the 45,000?
We haven't paid anything. That's why the deficit is there.
Oh. Okay, so
and now we just bonded. We just bonded, right? So on 127, when I went to bond for the whole thing, I was short, and she said, "Oh, you can't bond for that because you had this 90,400 in pay down that the city should have appropriated." And that's when I knew that that deficit was never going away. So I looked for alternative methods to cover it.
I see. So we never paid our 136,000 share on that bonding or that band note. Is that accurate?
I mean, we paid the ban, yes. But when we bonded, there was a deficit because they're not going to bond for that additional $90,000. So they take that 90,400. They're like, "You guys are 2 years off. You should be paying principal balance right now, and you're not. So we're going to make you pay that."
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with $136,000. It's more like you would have been paying $45,200 in principal balance if you completed your project in a timely fashion and bonded a long time ago, but you didn't. You let it sit there in a short-term note.
Understood, but I'm just trying to understand how much we paid and how much remains outstanding. So of the 136, 45,000 you're attempting to bond, and the remaining 90 is payments that we should have made but never made.
Right, so we ended up bonding in the end. We ended up bonding $195,200. MSBA paid for the rest. And then we owe, well, I'm not going to say we owe, in principle, we should have paid down the $90,400.
So we missed payments.
No. Not really.
We did not miss payment.
We
didn't do appropriation transfers.
We had an obligation to pay timely, but we didn't make them.
We didn't have to pay timely at all.
No.
We had to finish our project and complete it in a timely fashion, or we wouldn't have to have there's no payment. We should have just appropriated into our bonds fund what the principal was, knowing that they were not going to allow us to bond for that 90,400 because of the time.
But the reason that they're doing that is because they're saying you should have made those two $45,000 payments, so they're not allowing you to bond now for them.
No, they're not saying that at all. They're saying that we're not allowing you to bond. What we're doing is we're saying the city has to pay this 2 years in principal because you're down 2 years and we're not bonding for it. But there was no payments due. Everything is paid on time. We just need to now pay these two $45,000 into our own bond fund. There's no payment due. The city will just sit there in deficit. We're not in arrears by any means.
Right, but what they're saying is that you should have bonded for it, that we kept it in a band, a short-term note, too long.
You got that, correct.
Okay. All right. And then the other one is 390. The state gave us 240 and we owe 150. And so that's, but you found 90,000 from other lines to use towards, because what we owe is the 90 plus 150, but you found some money to offset the amount owed, and then the transfer is for the difference?
Yeah, the actual transfer for itself is for that principal balance, but there was also some premium that was put in there from the bands when they sold the short-term note. So that's why it's a little bit different than the 90,400. That's premium that I put in there when they sold the note. And the money that I found, I actually found $488,931 that have been sitting in bond funds as surpluses. Most of them actually before 2010 when the Munis system came into the city. So we can use that money to put as cash towards other things that we'd like to bond as long as the useful life and the bonding capacity is the same.
Okay. So of the total that's owed, we're paying this portion, and then 150 and 45 is being added to this other bond. Is that correct?
That is the total bond for this feasibility study. That's what we ended up bonding in total.
150 plus 45.
150. Correct. The
Okay.
190, yep.
195. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Bartley.
Through the chair to Tanya. Tanya, is there a consequence if we don't pass this tonight?
The consequence will be that it will definitely hit your free cash in 2023.
Thank you.
Anyone further? So the motion is to pass the first reading, but I forgot to ask, this is to take up final action because it's a late file. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So motion would be to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. Councilor McGivern?
One more, Mr. President. Is the chief of police on Zoom?
He is.
Okay, this will be quick. It's item number 21. The motion is to suspend the rules to take out of order for the purpose of adoption.
Motion is
Second.
for item 21. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And for Councilor McGivern, that's $17,500 from parade, snow, elections to special events, $17,500. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Also a
Thank you.
motion to allow the chief to do Q&A.
Thank you, Mr. President. Each of these line items that the money is coming from are line items that years ago our auditor Brian Smith and when he put the budget together started separating various line items in the police department to track what we call is overtime. These are special events, of course. The parade, Snow Toes is a special event in itself, and elections is kind of unpredictable as to the manpower hours needed. The money in these line items are identified as surplus by the auditor, by the chief, and by the mayor. The special events lining that it's going into is because our, at the time, our mayor, Terry Murphy, looked at the fireworks and gay pride event that's coming up, and looked and thought that the fireworks would be in next fiscal year, fiscal 20. I don't know what year we're in, 2023. So the line item for fireworks was zero funded. As we know, the fireworks are this Friday. We're still in this fiscal year, so the chief is just trying to do the right thing and make the transfer to cover the expenses for Friday night. And there's two other events.
Any questions for the chief?
What are the two other events?
All right, so
The Gay Pride Festival. And what, Chief, I'm sorry, if you could just tell us the third event that you're anticipating.
Chief, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So the other event was an event that is down in South Holyoke. The name slips me right now, but
Noche de
they
San
were
Juan.
attempting to hire officers, but I'm not sure that they were able to get them in the detail. So I might have to cover that as well. I want to talk about more importantly the fireworks. The fireworks is probably the most unique special event we have because I have to kind of budget for the fireworks, but I also have to keep in mind that, and hopefully it doesn't look that this will happen now, but I didn't know that when we did this. If the fireworks were to be canceled, it's possible that I could have to rehire those officers for the next day for the rain date. So I have to make sure I have enough to cover that as well. The reality of this line item is that the money I moved in there, I'm sure I won't be using all of it as long as the fireworks go off on Friday.
Any questions, Councilor
Yeah,
Bartley?
just what are the dates of these other events?
The Pride event already happened. It was on the 18th, I believe. And the other one is, and this is another possible, it's the same as the rain date for the fireworks. So I believe it's 25th.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone further? Seeing none, motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approved that one. And that was it.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the members of the council, for everybody that came on Zoom or in person for indulgence of ending the fiscal year.
All right. So next is back in order. We're at 5, which is from Councilor Bacon, a communication from a constituent regarding school takeovers by the state.
Motion to receive and send to DGR, please.
Motion is received, send to DGNR. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Petitions. We have a petition for a street vendor license between the middle.
Motion to suspend rules and take up 6, 7, 8, and 9 as a package. They'll be going to ordinance.
All right, so 6, 7, 8, 9 is a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Red 6, 7 is a petition for Holyoke Smoke Corporation, new special permit. 8 is a new marijuana cultivation. 9 is a special permit for medical marijuana for 420 Ray Street. All those to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? President report quickly. As Councilor McGivern already said, the fireworks are this Friday, pending rain. And then we do have a communication here. Dear Honorable City Council, the Public Safety and Public Health Advisory Committee cordially invites you to the next meeting on Thursday, June 30th at the Holyoke Elks at 6 p.m. Mayor Garcia will be in attendance and give a report on the city's gun protocol. The committee has also on mental health, homelessness, city cleanup, public safety. So June 30th at 6 p.m. at the Holyoke Elks. And to Councilor Anderson Burgos to give an update.
I do.
Yep.
Thank you. So about 2.5, maybe 3 months ago, Councilor Maldonado Velez approached me and said, "Hey, Juan, let's talk about Pride, shall we?" And lo and behold, June 18th, we had our first Pride Fest here in Holyoke, and I'm beyond of how many people showed up. There were about, throughout the day, probably 800 visitors. And I want to personally thank Councilor Israel Rivera for your support. Thank you for showing up. And I just heard that the Holyoke Police Department just stated that they were there. I did not see one officer there. I don't know if they were patrolling the area, but I was on every square inch of that park walking around, and I didn't see a Holyoke Police Department vehicle or officer. But needless to say, the event was very successful. I am looking forward to next year, and the support that we hope to get next year is greater. But it was a very, very, very well-attended event, and I can't be more proud of our hard work. Councilor Maldonado Velez, this was an amazing event, and I'm so proud of everyone who showed up and all the work that was put into it. Thank you.
Anyone further?
I would just like to add,
Councilor
Mr.
Rivera?
President. Yeah, it was a pretty well-attended event. To be honest, I went with my daughters and my wife, had some food, and there was music, performances. It was pretty exciting. Had to leave early because my daughter was spazzing out, but we had a good time for the little bit of the time that I was there. And Veterans Park was lit. Like, I haven't seen it that popping in a long time, to be honest. So it was good that it was being used in a way that the park was intended to be used.
Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Yeah, I just want to, excuse me, since we're always within City Council chambers, also thank Mayor Garcia, Representative Duffy, and Senator Vilas for coming out and opening up the ceremony for us on Saturday. Yeah, it was like both councilors said before, it was a great event. I can't wait for next year to make it bigger, and I hope that more of the councilors are able to make it with more notice and more, advanced notice. Thanks.
So with that, we are on to reports of committees. First up is ordinance. 10A, Committee on Ordinance was referred an order based on the passage of Chapter 48 in the Acts of 2022. That Section 2-67 be amended to include City Solicitor, Superintendent of Public Works as exempt from residency requirement. Recommend that be adopted. Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the first reading.
Motion is receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Or discussion. Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. So you may all recall that we sent to the state legislature to get a charter change. And so this is to bring our ordinances in line with the charter change that was approved. Straightforward.
And there is one amendment that Councilor Bacon captured when reading it, where it says, by adding the following language, it said the subsection shall be to the personnel department. That really should be personnel director. So the motion would be to strike out department and replace it with director. Administrator?
Which one?
All right, so law is saying it should be administrator.
Well, if you say so.
I'm going with Leo.
10A says city solicitor and
I
DPW
thought-
superintendent.
So
Are we on the same one?
this is 10A. It's attached to 10A.
Because it was city solicitor and superintendent of public works. I thought we did personnel director before. I don't know.
Yeah, so no person shall serve as the department head in the city unless such person is or remains a resident of Hoyoke during duration of their employment. This subsection shall be inapplicable to the personnel administrator, not department, the city solicitor, and the public works insofar as.
Because they were all.
Right, I was just making the amendment that you pointed out, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And that was just a language correction
Yep.
from our legal department.
Yep.
Whether it's director or administrator, I'm not
All
sure.
right, so Mike Bissonette is saying administrator.
Okay, so then I'll offer an amendment to the legal form that it be changed to administrator instead of department. Second.
And that was seconded.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So that is fixed. So with that,
So now I'll make a motion to pass the second reading.
so to pass the first reading, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is that
pass
we
the
pass
second
the
reading.
second reading. A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And motion that the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the change.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
For your vote, you approve that one. B, the Committee on Ordinance was referred a special permit application with the following, recommend it be adopted with the following condition, that the owner of the building always pay commercial property taxes at both federal, state, local law during the special permit, that the business retain a minimum of 30 Holyoke residents for non-security jobs, that the hiring preference be given to security personnel that are retired Holyoke police officers or retired members of another police department that are in the city of Holyoke. There shall be no marijuana consumption on site, that the hours of operations be set in accordance with city ordinances, that the applicant must abide by the Mass General Law and guidance regarding Cannabis Control Commission. 7, that the petitioner shall conform to the city for state health rules and regulations regarding odor nuisance control, duration of the permit. The applicant for number 8 recommend that the June 7th, 2022 letter from the city engineer.
So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report and grant the special permit.
Motion to receive, adopt, grant the special permit. Under discussion, Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we held the public hearing, and this was a pretty complete application. And of note, the only added condition other than our standard conditions is to include the recommendations from our city engineer in the letter that he provided to committee, so for reference to the building department. And it was recommended from the full committee.
Seeing no one else, the motion is receive, adopt, grant the special permit. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the permit.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
She's left the
She's
room.
abstaining. Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas, 1 abstain.
For your motion, that one's approved. 10C, Councilor Bacon.
So the committee has recommended this. However, subsequent to our committee meeting where the recommendation was made, I received a correspondence from the planning department after we had reviewed the June 6th letter from the planning department to the applicant indicating that we do not have the letter from the police chief relative to the security plan for this application. And since we have not moved a special permit forth without that core document, I'd like to make a motion that we table
So
this
moved.
until we receive the letter from the chief.
All right, so motion was tabled. It was seconded. It's not debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It is tabled. 10D, Committee on Ordinances refer that City Ordinance Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 5, Section 2, 152, 156, and 158 be updated as necessary based on the new proposal structure for the City Law Department. Recommended that be adopted. Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the first reading.
So motion to receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion.
So many of you will remember that we had a presentation by our then acting city solicitor about reorganizing the law department to bring in a variety of skills and to give some flexibility as she has been leading and rebuilding that department. So this process required amending a number of areas in our ordinances, which the committee has worked diligently to do, and I appreciate all their work on this. And so before you, you have all the amended sections that at the end of the day allow our now city solicitor to bring in part-time employees with particular areas of expertise and to build flexibility and responsiveness within the department, in the city. And the language that has been provided accomplishes that.
Any questions? So the motion is to receive, adopt, pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is to pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And motion that the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for this.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Your vote, you approve that one. 10E, Committee on Ordinance was referred in order that Section 2-34B, hours of municipal offices and employees be amended to include the offices of city solicitor as exempt from having hours of 8:30 to 4:30. Recommend that be adopted.
Thank you, Mr.
Counselor
President. The motion is to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the first reading.
Motion to receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Our discussion.
So in reorganizing that department, it was noted that as the one other department noted, they have very irregular hours and are very often, in cases of one or more of the full-time people in that department at evening meetings. And so we're just cleaning up the language to provide the flexibility in scheduling.
All right. So motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion that the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the hour change.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Deacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. 10F, the Committee on Ordinance was referred in order that the committee be formed to call the Tourism Advisory Committee. The scope of the committee is to create and market a new brand of Fort Holyoke, reform for events, public gatherings, annual monitoring and reporting of progress, review of infrastructure maintenance, coordinate business communication and Holyoke tourism opportunities, establish and support signature destinations, promote outdoor recreation, make recommendations for fiscal resource plans, recommend annual updates to the strategic plan. The committee will utilize the Holyoke Tourism Strategic Plan. The committee will, from time to time, update and revise the plan as they feel necessary. This is recommended that be adopted, amended to require one at-large member be a youth member.
Thank you,
Counselor
Mr.
Bacon.
President. So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the first reading, but I would note there was also a further amendment in the legal language that the committee signed tonight, which was that the Tourism Advisory Committee will support beautification and cleanliness endeavors of the city. I might be paraphrasing that slightly, but it was the idea of the visuals downtown and that the group would support that as well.
All right, so that's amendment that we're adding to.
It's in the legal.
Oh, it's already in there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just noting it
Yep.
because it wasn't on the agenda.
Okay. So, motion is receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Any discussion? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is to pass the second reading. All those in favor? Up,
Aye.
Counselor Tomlin.
Yeah, I just want to thank the ordinance committee for taking this up in a quick manner. It's something that we worked on with the Public Service Committee, and I really appreciate Councilor Bacon by taking this up so they can start working on this and getting committee members.
Thank you. So pass the Councilor Rivera.
I also wanted to note that we also amended and added that one of the at-large members be a youth member.
Yeah, I read
So
that.
that
You
way.
read that.
Yep, that's in there.
Okay. No, I just
Oh.
wanted to note it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion that the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for 10F.
Bartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Your vote, you approve that one. Councilor Bartley, is this the part we were chatting about earlier for 10G, H?
G is not Ward 3.
No, G's not part of it.
Oh, okay, I was just making sure.
Good,
Okay.
Thank you.
So 10G, the Committee on Ordinance was referred an order from Bob Parent, City Engineer, report that a possible hump request for Bray Park Drive, recommend that the engineer report to not install the temporary humps be accepted. Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report. And I just want to note that our engineer, Bob Parent, gave the committee a side-by-side comparison to 5 different streets where speed humps had been requested. And so he provided us with a comparison of the different analysis that they did. And so in the case of the order before us on Bray Park, given that the traffic was less and that the percentage of vehicles traveling over 30 miles an hour was less, along with some other considerations that go into these kinds of requests, that they were not indicated for that particular street.
Okay. So motion is to receive and accept the report to not install the temporary humps. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Yeah, Mr. President, could I ask us to suspend the rules, take 10H, K, L, and M as a package?
Motion to suspend the rules, take up H, K, L, and M. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And my second motion is to send them back to ordinance for just additional discussion, please, with the engineer and the residents.
All right, so H is petition for speed humps for Moss Ave. K is speed humps for Fenton Street. L is for speed humps Memorial Drive. And M is Moss Ave again. So all those back to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let me just update that. All right. Off to 10I.
Motion is to suspend rules and take up I and J as a package.
Motion to suspend rules, take up I and J as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I is ordinance referred to remove the existing handicap sign at 402 Pleasant Street. Recommend that be adopted. 10J is the Committee on Ordinance to refer to handicap spot in front of Pleasant Street, 200 feet to Lincoln Street, be removed. Also to be adopted. Motion to be receive, adopt,
Motion to receive, adopt, and pass the first reading.
pass the first reading. Our discussion, Councilor Bacon.
So these are no longer needed. We just need to remove them from the ordinances.
All right, so pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second
Motion is
reading.
passed the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion that the passage be ordained for
Motion
both
that the-
locations.
Yep. Motion that the passage be ordained for both of those, which is 10I and J. Clerk will call the roll.
Bartley?
He's left the room.
He left the room.
Okay. Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
No.
10 yeas, 1 nay.
For your vote, you approve that. We are on to 10N. Committee on Ordinance referred in order that speed humps be placed on Upland Road. Based on the engineer, recommended the speed humps be accepted.
So-
Temporary speed humps be accepted.
Sorry. Oh, so the motion is to receive and adopt. the
Motion to
committee
receive and
report.
adopt. Other discussion, Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. So in the comparison that the city engineer provided to the committee, Michigan Avenue was a recent street that had speed humps constructed, and the findings for Upland Road were very similar to that, indicating that that would be potentially a helpful thing to do there. And so it was indicated that the temporary ones should be placed to see if they have the desired effect on that street. And just as a point of reference, this street is next to Kane, which is where McMahon School is, and they're both very similar streets in terms of how they're constructed.
All right, thank you. Anyone further? So motion is to receive, adopt, and put in the temporary speed humps. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Councilor Bartley just gave me an FYI. There's mail back there for people, so make sure you go through it and take it home. 10O, Committee on Ordinance was referred in order the ordinance be amended to change City Council Mayor Assistant from 1 year to 2 years. Recommend that's been complied with.
So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report.
Also receive, adopt. Councilor Bacon.
In this situation, the administrative assistant had never been in ordinance in terms of the term. It's simply ruled by charter. And so with recommendation from legal, the charter will rule, and we are recommending that it be found complied with.
All right, so motion that's been complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Off to 10P. Committee on Ordinance to refer to zone change application from BH to BC for 18 Cabot Street. Awaiting disposition.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to the committee for coming down early. This is 2 for 2, out of an effort to be business-friendly and responsive to our constituents. We were able to complete our public hearing on this application for this zone change, and I would note that we had a unanimous recommendation to approve the zone change from the planning board, and the committee is recommending it the same to the full council.
Anyone else? Councilor Bartley.
Oh, I mean, this is really exciting. So there's a lot of credit that should be given. And when we see investment in the city of Holyoke, we also want to say thank you to the private sector for stepping up and turning this around. We've got a lot of great businesses on a stretch of road, some great anchors. If I say one, I'm going to forget somebody else, but I think those of us who travel around the town want to tip our hat, if we can, to those multiple businesses that have kept that area alive through some pretty tough times. And now we've seen not 1, not 2, not 3, and potentially 4 brand new businesses, restaurants, but how about that, coming into this area where it was a pretty dormant spot. It's now sort of come alive, and so I just greatly appreciate the investment. Of course, we appreciate the hard work of the ordinance committee as well, and the planning board, because you can't effectuate this change without the effort of the aforesaid body. So thank you to all.
Seeing no one else, motion is receive, adopt, and grant the zone change. The clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for zone change.
Bartley?
Sorry, I'm having a cookie. Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Rambolletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. Just trying to catch up here.
On my microphone.
10Q, Committee on Ordinance was referred an order petition for a street vendor license. Recommended to give leave to withdraw. Councilor
Thank you,
Bacon.
Mr. President. The motion is to receive and adopt the committee report.
Motion is receive, adopt, to give leave to withdraw. Councilor Bacon.
Thanks. This applicant was given 3 opportunities to come before the committee, and our administrative assistant, Jeffrey, reached out a number of times. But after the 3rd try, we figure if he's interested in coming, he'll give us another application.
All right. So motion is to give leave to withdraw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? R, Committee on Ordinance was referred a zone change application from R2 to BL for property located on Pleasant Street, which is the former People's Bank parking lot, awaiting disposition.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the motion is to receive and adopt and grant the zone change.
Motion is receive, adopt, grant the zone change. Under discussion, Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so we had a very good public hearing on this, but there were some questions raised relative to notice because of the lack of a numerical address because it was a parking lot. So out of an effort to be very thorough, our administrative assistant sent out a secondary letter describing it as you see it in your agenda tonight as that parking lot at the bank so that people would be aware and able to participate more fully in the public hearing. This was no fault or anything against the applicant. So it was just out of an effort to be very thorough. So as a result, the planning board had made their recommendation to us that this be approved. And again, it was a unanimous recommendation. And after being able to hear from the neighbors and have Mr. Yee, who also attended the most recent public hearing, come in and speak to some of the issues, the committee is recommending unanimously to approve this zone change as well. So, and Councilor Bartley always does a good job of giving credit to our business people. And so I want to give him credit for that. I'm on a mission to get the things done, but it goes without saying, I hope, at least from my part, that we do appreciate all the investment in our city, and that's why our committee's been coming together to help move things along. Thank you.
Yep, Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, and just, Mr. President, don't think for a second I didn't hear what one of the public speakers said tonight. So it's very important what she said about how our investments, we're going to support Holyoke's most vulnerable people. And that's a person with a lot of gravitas that spoke, and I've spoken to her multiple times about various issues. But just on this one topic here, we just have to, again, do our best, Mr. President, in these trying times to support, this is new investment. Again, another dormant building. We're not knocking anybody, it's just market conditions, and finally they got the thing up and running, and now we're going to have what's really going to be a pretty exciting little stretch of road. So I know I've seen probably every single counselor at some of these places over the course of time, and it's really nice to see all of us supporting these places, and I'm going to continue to do so. And it's just, again, words to be, there's a lot of credit to be given on this, and we got to thank the planning board and then, of course, the ordinance committee for all his hard work on this, because it's just vital. And if we don't continue to advocate strongly, Mr. President, for private business, as we've done numerous times, I don't think we've had one denial on a special permit for a marijuana license. I mean, that is amazing. I mean, I don't even know how, I haven't quantified it, but it's somewhere in the 30s anyhow. So it's a pretty impressive track record by this body, and I know we're going to continue to support our commercial sector, and with that, maybe we can help support some other initiatives that the public speaker spoke about at the top of the meeting. Thank you.
Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, I think it's just fantastic, Mr. President, that we have this restaurant coming in here, a White Hut. I mean, the Yee family reputation precedes them. I mean, they're just a class act in terms of running a number of restaurants. And this, I'm certain, will be no exception. I think this is a home run for the area. And it's really great to see this dormant property to be revitalized in this way and to offer this to the residents, and to have yet another restaurant coming into the community is just fantastic. So very, very pleased we could fast track this and to get this approved, and very excited about the opportunity for this coming to Holyoke. Thank you.
Councilor Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not too often do I make the ordinance committee meetings, but I really miss it on TV. And I saw the meeting, and Mr. Yee and all the people, the developer, and speaking on this, and Kevin, your thoughts and the neighbors and everything. I delivered mail in this area for about 25 years, so I'm very familiar with Hampden and Pleasant Street. And with the Yu family, putting their investment into this, this is really a beautiful thing for the city of Holyoke, and we do have to support our private sectors to do whatever they can. That whole area up on Hampden Street has really turned into something special. So looking forward to their investment in the city, and really thank them for taking the time and the initiative to invest in our city.
Councilor McGivern.
I too would just like to speak in favor of the zone change. The use is obvious. This has been, even though a residential property, been used commercially for decades now. I think some of the neighbors said it best, and I thank the ordinance committee for bringing this out, where the immediate neighbors said, this has always been a commercial property. We just want the right developer, the right project, and a good buffer zone between us and whatever business goes in there. And Mr. Yee did promise them that, which I thought was wonderful. The Yee family is tremendous, and bringing not only the Yee family into this for the purpose of this use, but a established organization in our neighboring town of West Springfield. And it's nice to know that West Springfield and Holyoke will be sharing one of the brand names known in the burger industry itself. So I look forward to participating in the new business coming to the city of Holyoke.
Anyone further? See no one, so the motion is to receive, adopt, and grant the zone change. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the change.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
He's not present.
Out of the room.
Out of the room.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas.
Your vote, you approve that?
Mr. President?
Yes.
On item 11B, I will be abstaining. There's actually two reasons, but the obvious one is the grant comes from the Office of the Commissioner of Probation. As a probation officer, I have a conflict, a little bit more than a perception of conflict, because of where the grant is going. So I will be abstaining. I know Councilor Jordan and Councilor Tallman took very good notes, and both will be prepared to answer questions.
All right, so with that, we're on to Finance. Committee on 11A, Committee on Finance, who was referred. The Holyoke fiscal year 2023 CPA budget for City Council approval. This is recommended be adopted.
Mr. President, I'm an item ahead, wasn't I?
It's okay.
Well, I was. I mean, you were right on B. I'm like, still an A in the alphabet, but.
Order. Am I going to order?
What?
we're fine.
You want
I apologize. I can do A. We've got enough of out-of-order stuff tonight that we don't need another vote. Thank God we're not on Zoom, and we'll be doing a lot of roll calls.
So 11A.
Motion to pass, motion to adopt.
So motion is to receive and adopt. Under discussion.
As required, CPA lets us know their projected budget for the next fiscal year with expenses and what they anticipate. They anticipate, besides the revenue collected through the local franchise, through the cable company, they're also looking at a 35% from the Department of Revenue and estimated receipts. They base their budget on what took place the past 2 years, and they are projecting that we will be having close to $800,000 in appropriations. They have to take the appropriation monies and divide it accordingly into 3 different categories, 3.5. The 3 categories of projects are historic revenues, community housing, and open space. The half is they do have $39,000 towards administrative expenses, which is the one person that is hired by the CPA and other expenses related to what they do. They do have some reserves, and Megan was before us to explain the goals. The committee is recommending that we adopt this and allow the CPA to proceed next year.
So motion is to receive, adopt, and the final estimated budget would be $783,808. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 11B, Committee on Finance was referred that the City Council hereby accept the Criminal Justice System Grant, $50,000. Motion to be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, this is pretty straightforward to what you see here. It's a $50,000 grant that will be administered through the police department, and it is for these alternative to criminal justice involvement. And if I'm correct, I believe we have had this grant previously. There's no match involved. It's $50,000, and I would recommend it be approved.
So the motion would be to receive, adopt, pass first reading. So passing the first. Oh, Councilor Tallman, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that. It's $42,000 goes to the Holyoke Boys and Girls Club, $8,000 the police department to administer the grant. It's for drug prevention, membership fees, job placement, and after-school programs for the Holyoke Boys and Girls Club. So I'll second that, the receiving this grant.
All right, Councilor Bartley.
I would just humbly request that since we get this every year, I haven't had one report from Holyoke Boys and Girls Club or HPD on the effects of this wonderful grant. It would be nice to just get a communication on it, and maybe if we could send a communication through Jeff to the Boys and Girls Club, attach a little note perhaps, and HPD, so we can get some feedback. That'd be great.
All right. With a request for an update.
Mr. President, I would like to second the same.
Yeah, we're going to have Jeff reach out and get the update. Anyone further? Seeing none, so motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call the roll. Councilor McGivern is abstaining. If you vote yes, you're voting for the grant.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes. Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas, 1 abstain.
With your vote, you approve that. 11C, Committee on Finance has referred that the City Council hereby accept the Shared Streets and Spaces $200,000 no match grant. Recommended that be adopted, so receive, adopt, pass first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, President. The city again does recommend it. I want to thank not just the committee, but the entire city council for fantastic attendance for all finance committees this year. And I'll just do some abbreviated reports here. I want to make sure on item
C. $200,000.
Streets.
Yep. And you need your mic on.
Should I say all that over again?
Yeah.
No.
Thank you. The shared streets and spaces, a $200,000 no match grant was established in a fund, that we're asking that we establish a fund and do the appropriation to allow the money to be spent by the city. What I said with my mic off was that I thank everybody for their participation at the finance committee level. It has been a fantastic year for finance, and I just would do the abbreviated readings and reports, but certainly be able to answer questions.
Anyone further on this one? Motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for this grant.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that. 11D, Committee on Finance to refer, hereby accept the provisions of the Regional Economic Development Grant for $25,000, no match. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I was a little bit too abbreviated on the last one. That was 6 raised sidewalks, which
Yes.
I think a lot of us are beginning to like raised sidewalks when they're put in the right locations. Regional Economic Development Organization grant comes to us without a match. It is a small business pop-up shop that's going to be right here on High Street that the Office of Economic Development is proposing to use this grant. It's really something unique and thinking out of the box, whereas they will have access to a now vacant shop, vacant storefront that will be allowed to do during certain events like Celebrate Holyoke or festivals that are going on downtown, where a entrepreneur or someone that is breaking out into the business world will be allowed to enter into an agreement with OPED and be able to participate during the event or during a portion of time on the street. Mr. Vega was with us. He answered all of our questions, and we think it's a new approach towards economic development on a small but very important level.
Anyone further? Motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second
Motion
reading?
is passed the second reading. Clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the $25,000 grant.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
For your vote, you approve that one. 11E, Committee on Finance who deferred, hereby appropriate $11,350.66 from firefighters to pay assistant supervisor / alarms. Recommend be adopted. So receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The chief was unavailable that evening. He really apologized 5 times to us. But we did have Dale with us. Dale has been with the fire department now, I think, for close to 29 years as an administrative assistant, doing that role. The surplus is, we know as we go along with firefighters, I believe there's 83 by ordinance, 83 in the budget to start, that we have vacancies throughout the year. Therefore, there is a surplus, and this particular item, there was I believe it was a mix-up in the when the contract was passed as to how much money was needed in the line item. So this just balances them out for the rest of the year. Neither line item will be affected if we adopt the transfer and get them through the fiscal year.
All right, so motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley?
Yep.
Givner?
Yes.
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Out of the room. He's out of the room.
Yeah, out of the room.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas.
For your vote, you approve that one. 11F, Committee on Finance, transfer from fiscal year 2022, $1 million as follows. School other expenses, $1 million. 2, stabilization, recommend it be adopted. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Counselor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had Mickey Buell from the school department before us. This is a good transfer. The $1 million is money that the school department did not use this current fiscal year. They did not use it for a couple reasons. Mickey explained to us that the earlier this year, the city council gave the school department permission to extend the bus contract. That resulted in a savings that allowed for this surplus to exist. The net school spending was therefore met and adjusted, and therefore the superintendent receiver, Anthony Soto, declared that this would be a good thing to transfer back to the city treasury itself. By adopting this, we bring back $1 million into our stabilization fund. The reason we're doing a stabilization fund is now this money is and will be allowed to be used next year. The mayor was with us, talked briefly about some ideas of what he's going to do, but the important thing this evening, if we adopt it, we get the $1 million back and we protect it in a stabilization fund for all the right reasons.
Counselor Bacon.
And I just want to give kudos to the mayor for bringing this before us. And I think for the first time since I've ever been on the city council, transferring money into the stabilization fund.
Anyone? Oh, Counselor Jordan.
Yeah, I also want to praise the mayor in this regard as well, too. He is putting this right where it belongs, right in the stabilization account. And I know he certainly would like to advance some capital projects down the road, and he did make that a point, and that's fine. Look forward to seeing what he has in mind. But it will be nice that if we could maintain some portion of this as starting a trend of making some form of principal payment into the stabilization fund. We have not had a principal payment into the stabilization account since 1999. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So kudos to Mayor Garcia for doing this, and it's certainly appreciated by many.
Counselor Tallman.
Yeah, just Mr. President, thank you. Thanks for the school department too for bringing that forward a couple years ago about the bus contract. Because said, can we extend this for a couple years? It might be a big help, and because of that, we have a good portion of this money that the school department had saved. Because if they had to go out to bid after COVID, the price would have been much higher. And also they also stated they readjusted and aligned some of the routes at the schools, plus with less students, they saved money there. But also my colleagues echoed their remarks about the mayor putting some money in there. It's really important slowly to get some money into that stabilization fund. It's good fiscal policy and it's good for our city.
Counselor Bartley.
Just on the stabilization account, Mr. President, I would hope we could get an update on where we are, maybe for our August meeting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Can I make a motion to that effect?
Oh, hold on, Counselor McGivern.
I'll make.
Second.
I think we have an order in finance where we're waiting for some updates on not stabilization, but on revenue forecasting and a lot of things. And hopefully, but I would certainly welcome that motion, Councilor Bartley, and that we would receive that also as part of what we're looking for forecasting for the upcoming couple of years.
I'll just make a motion that we send a request to the auditor and chief file communication for the first meeting in August relative to stabilization balance as of July 1st.
I'll second that.
The motion was to get the update as stated. I was seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? With regards to this one, this is the transfer of $1 million into stabilization. Motion is passed first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the $1 million transfer.
Hartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. 11G, Committee on Finance, who's referred in order to transfer $304.71 from education training to overtime. Motion would be receive, adopt, pass first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. We recommend that the transfer take place. Lori Belanger was, I did speak to her before the meeting. She wasn't present. But as we know, there was a loss in her office, and there's been a vacancy in her office, and she's been juggling with the employee that she has, and there's been a just cause for some overtime. She actually told us this is the final pay period where any overtime will be necessary, and this will cover her for the rest of the year.
So motion is passed first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion to pass the second reading. Clerk call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Hartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
With your
Unanimous vote.
vote, you approve that one. 11H, Committee on Finance, who was referred, transferred $207.64 from temp seasonal to overtime. Motion is to
Pass
approve,
first
so
reading.
receive, adopt, pass first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had Aaron Vega with us. Two explanations for the transfer. There is a surplus in the temp seasonal that was verified by the auditor. The overtime is there was a switch in staff during the course of the year, and also noted is that the OPIT department took on the responsibilities of some commissions, in meaning that staffing and working with the commission and being at their meetings. So there was, with a vacancy and with some shifting in the department, he's requesting for this overtime to pay the help that spend some extra hours to make up the shortcoming.
Anyone further? Motion is to pass first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Hartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. Next is 11I, Committee on Finance, there was a request of $2,865 from Veteran Benefits to Administrative Assistant. Recommend it be adopted. Receive, adopt, pass first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we know, earlier in the fiscal year, the mayor approached us and talked about our administrative assistant, how he filled in to be what I call best described the webmaster for the city of Holyoke, and did so incredibly well. The mayor asked that could be made a formal and more permanent situation. We had a discussion. I believe it was the ordinance committee that had the bulk on the discussion of making sure that our position and our current administrative assistant could handle and not miss a beat, which he has not with us. I'm not sure if he's working any more hours, but I kind of have a feeling that, Mr. President, you know that better than most of us. Jeffrey does a tremendous job. came to our attention that when the salary was adjusted, it didn't include for the retroactive time for when Jeff did start doing the work on the website itself. This is just a retroactive pay that will adjust to the salary adjustment that we gave to the position earlier this year.
Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, very well explained by the chairman. I just wanted to say that Jeff has done amazing work. Anytime I've called down here looking for stuff for my committee for public service, I mean, I call the office phone here, like within 2 seconds he picks up. And if he doesn't, he gets right back to me within probably 5 minutes. So he's really been helpful to me as a new chairman of all the committees here, and I'm really grateful. And all he's done with the work with technology is amazing. You know, with the city, it's really top notch. So I really appreciate and I vote very much in favor of this transfer.
Councilor Bacon.
And on this one, I'd like to chime in. Usually I just kind of go with the nuts and bolts, but we've had a lot of heavy lifting in Ordinance Committee this year, and I just want to thank Jeffrey for all the detail work and organization because it's been very helpful.
Anyone further? Seeing none, motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Abstain.
11 yeas, 1 abstain.
For your vote, you approve that one. 11J.
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules of J and K as a package? I think we'll be safe there.
Yep.
I'll
Motion
second.
to suspend the rules, take up J and K as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? J is that there hereby be appropriated a transfer from fiscal year 2023 to 2022 free cash in the sum of $50,000 to Capital Stabilization Fund. K is same, but this is for the Sewer Enterprise Stabilization Fund, and that's for $293,000. Motion would be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. On J, free cash came in late this year by putting it in, number one, by putting it in a stabilization account. We protect it for use next year. We are allowed to do that. We learned that, although it's something that's rarely happened in this chambers or in City Hall in many years. It's what I think many of us feel is a good thing. Obviously, Councilor Jordan said it as well as anyone could. $50,000 into stabilization fund, Councilor Bacon said it, is something that we just don't see, and we thank the mayor and look forward to solidifying and enhancing our stabilization funds. Item K is almost the same thing. It's the first time in many years there are surplus funds within the sewer enterprise. By establishing, we already created the new stabilization fund for the sewer enterprise. This money can be put there and be used for capital outlay, things of a nature. We also would have to come back for a vote by the city council, but things that can be done there in the upcoming years. Again, a way to protect the surplus money within the budget of the sewer enterprise.
Anyone further? Motion will be pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for J and K.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Out of the room.
Out of the room.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti?
Yes.
Puello? Oh, Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas.
With your vote, you approve that one.
Mr. President?
Yep.
If I could make a motion to suspend the rules to remove from committee an item. The item is a $50,000 transfer request from Veterans Benefits direct into claims and damages.
Second that.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up out of committee a request of a transfer of $50,000 from Veteran Benefits Direct to Claims Damages. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Counselor McGivern.
We had tabled this in committee when we couldn't get all of our questions answered and appropriately decided not to make a recommendation on it, but we really wanted to hear the benefits. The surplus Veteran Benefits Direct has been the same answer we've had for the past 2 or 3 meetings. Well, we know that Jesus based the money in that line item on prior years, whether it was COVID, not as many claims being filed by veterans. He had a surplus, and accordingly, money's been transferred out of there. Claims and damages is through the state solicitor's budget. Mayor also controls the claims and damages. We learned that this particular damage is to reconcile, I guess would be the correct word, a workman's comp claim that's been going on for some time in the DPW. The $50,000 would buy out the workman's comp claim and put an end to it, and a settlement that we believe is in the best, the state solicitor believes, and the mayor, in the best interest of the city. We were able to do this. There's certainly some confidentiality stuff about it, but we were able to do this through telephone conversations with the solicitor.
Counselor Jordan.
Yeah, I am supporting this. I will just say, though, it's another workers' comp claim, and what I'm observing, and maybe that'll be a theme later, a lot of workplace injuries here in the city of Holyoke. A lot of money is being spent for people, employees getting injured. And at some point, we have to start asking the question, why? Why do we have so many employees in so many city departments getting injured on the job? And I think at some point, the city council needs to start looking at having in our workers' comp carrier and start getting to the root causes of all the indemnification lines and workers' comp lines and injured on duty lines, and start examining these questions. And it is entirely appropriate for this city council to look at why are our employees getting injured, and moreover, what situation do they have that, one, are we getting to the root causes of these injuries? We just say, oh, we'll approve, this number of thousands, here it's 50,000 for this employee who got injured, right? And the question is, does anybody ask the question, what happened to this employee? And why, and what steps have we put in place so this doesn't happen again? And you're going to see more of these tonight. We just roll through thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in these injuries. And then the question is, what are we doing to keep the public safe? What are we doing to keep coworkers safe? And I just think it's something that we need to begin to think about. This is entirely appropriate. I see what they're doing here. They're trying to settle this workers' comp claim for this employee. He's entitled to this money, no question. But again, this was from another workplace injury on an employee, and that costs taxpayers money. And we need to be doing root cause analysis. Thank you.
Anyone further? Seeing no else, motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer for claims and damages.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve that one. There was no public safety
President?
committee.
Yeah, I think this is a point of order.
Sure.
And just, you have to, so I want to account for this vote. And since it's not on a public agenda, and I don't think the rule that I proposed and we passed, that we have late files be added to the next meeting minutes at the bottom, I kind of want to see if the clerk can add this vote similar to what she does on the late files at the back end of the agenda. Is that something, Brenna, that may I go to the chair, Mr. President?
Yep.
Mr. Chair, to Madam Clerk. Is that something, Madam Clerk, that you, because I know it'll be in the meeting minutes, but that'll be just buried within the meeting minutes. I like to add it to the end, like similar to what we do for the late files. Is that possible, Madam Clerk?
Yep, absolutely.
Is that something,
I can
Madam?
just manually, yep, absolutely. I can just manually add it in there.
And Madam Clerk, is that something that you can do when, because these things don't come up regularly, but we do pull things out of the jacket once in a while. Is that something that you might be able to just do?
Sure. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Anyone further? So there's no public safety to public service. Committee on Public Service referred that they invite in, it's a letter appointing Tommy Reynolds to the new director, Park and Rec Director, awaiting disposition. Councilor Thomas.
Yes, I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment from Jose Bacon, the chairman of Parks and Rec, and Helen Busby, the vice chairman, appointing Tom Reynolds.
Motion is to confirm the appointment. Under discussion, Councilor Tomlin.
Yeah, we had Mr. Reynolds here the other night. It was great to meet him. I believe he just recently started this past week. He's got great experience. Actually, he was a lifeguard, Kevin, at Puyallup Pool many years ago. Moved out of Holyoke, came back to Holyoke, wanted to get back into working with the city. I'm sure they had several interviews for this appointment. He's got definitely a lot of personal training. He's got a lot of experience in putting together schedules, and he's got some really great visions for what the city wants to do with the parks. Councilor Bartley and I questioned him on the number of parks we have in Holyoke, and unbelievable the number we have. He's up for the challenge. He realizes that we're shorthanded in that department. We talked to him a little bit about possibly, separating from the DPW, and that's something that he'll have to look at and contact with the mayor, and I'm sure the DPW, to try to get the people to do the job. But I don't know if everybody's got his resume, but it's unbelievable where he's been and what he's done in the past 15 years. He's actually been a strength and conditioning coach for a lot of the AAA baseball teams. And he was a track and field official from March 2015 to the present, and he was also a baseball coach for Holyoke Allies. So he is very invested in sports, invested in the community, and I think he's an excellent pick that the commissioners made through the mayor, and very helpful. It's going to be a great appointment for the city of Holyoke.
Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, all in favor of Mr. Reynolds. Does it have, I didn't see it on the agenda, but does it have the term that he's being appointed to? 5.
I think it's a 5. Is it 5?
It is a 5-year appointment.
Doesn't say
I'm
it
just
on
making sure that we got that in there.
Yeah, he started June 3rd. I believe it's a 5-year term.
Okay,
Yeah.
only because we had a couple directors time ago. He said, "What are you talking about? I thought I got appointed permanently. I didn't have a 5-year term."
I brought that up.
I just want to make sure everybody knows it's a 5-year term in the ordinance.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
I found that on the commission, and I brought it up, and they were like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "I was never told it was a 5-year."
Exactly. I
looked it up and found it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to make sure we're telling this gentleman, as we told people in the past, it's a 5-year appointment.
Mm-hmm. Councilor McGivern.
Just a fantastic appointment by the commissioner and the mayor, and the confirmation is so appropriate. Knowing Tommy and knowing the Reynolds family, it brings a lot of pluses to the table. We don't see a turnover in this position that often, and it's good to know we got an incoming top shelf candidate.
Anyone further? All right, so the letter just states that the position starts June 13th, 2022. It doesn't represent the 5 years, but it is correct on what you stated. So just put that into the record.
Just make sure Mr. Reynolds knows that. In
Right.
fairness to him, you know.
All right, so with that, motion is receive, adopt, and confirm the appointment. Do a roll call for this one, isn't it, Drew?
Sure.
So clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're confirming to confirm Mr. Reynolds.
Bartley,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Maldonado Velez,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Givern,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you're approved. 13B, Committee on Public Service was referred from the mayor, appoint former Councilor Gladys LeBron Martinez to serve as Commissioner of the Holyoke Housing Authority. She will replace Miriam Quinones to serve the remaining term, which will expire April 1st, 2024, awaiting disposition.
Make a motion to confirm the appointment of Gladys to the Holyoke Housing Authority.
Motion is to receive, adopt, and grant the appointment. Councilor Tallman.
Yes, we had Gladys LeBron Martinez here on Zoom. We asked her some questions. Councilor Bartley and I, many of us know Gladys, former school committee person, former Ward 1 city councilor. She's looking forward to serve. She knows about a lot of the projects that the Housing Authority has been doing, South Holyoke, actually Lyman Terrace, and I think she'll be an excellent choice to serve on that board for the next, under 2 years, but for the next 2 years to fill their appointment of Marion Quinones.
Anyone further? Councilor McGivern, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a great appointment, and certainly support the confirmation. I sat next to Gladys for so many years, and when she announced she was not going to seek re-election, my first thoughts were, her tenure on the school committee as Councilor Tallman, her tenure as a city councilor, and more important, her activism as a resident of the city of Holyoke for not just the neighborhoods that she represented, but all of the city. And I thought to myself that she still has a lot to offer, and I'm so grateful that the mayor and Gladys are stepping forward to keep her plugged into what goes on in the city, and it's a great appointment.
Anyone further? Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, just following up what the finance chair said, I think he's right on point, which is why I asked two broad-ranging topics to the appointee. One is the Holyoke Housing Authority being the largest landlord in the municipality, and it pays to the municipality the puniest pilot out of all of them, under $4,000 a year. No changes to that, but yet calls for service, HPD, fire, Public Works, they run unabated to Holyoke Housing Authority. And yet the Housing Authority wants to pay about $3,900 a year. Second point I raised to the nominee, just to bring to the attention of the board, is the fact, and you can look up in the minutes if you're ever so inclined, that the Housing Authority has, for 2 fiscal years in a row, not only taken grant money from this city for South Holyoke, not only taken all sorts of other opportunities for financing from this body, but they have shifted $500,000 in 20, another $500,000 in 21 to the Massachusetts Municipal Depository Trust. Well, what is that? Well, that's a public bank based in Boston for public and quasi-public agencies. And what do? They just generate more interest. So Holyoke Housing Authority, which is supposed to help our neediest people, our most vulnerable, we just heard a speaker at the start of the meeting talk about that. 2 straight years, they sent $500,000 of what is basically public money to MMDT for what? Not for housing, to make money. Is that their purpose, Mr. President? I don't know. Could they do a little more to help its host municipality? I think they could. But that takes a little bit of a little courage from a commissioner and a vote. We remember the vote they took relative to the pocket park across the street. We remember that very well. How a meeting that was never posted, a special meeting, resulted in a pocket park being built over here. HHA fronted the money. The former mayor turned around and through CDBG gave them back their $32,000 later on. So that stuff happens. Public record. So I brought it up to the, hopefully, and I know Gladys very well. I'm sure she'll be a wonderful commissioner. I just happened to bring it up. We'll see if they do anything about it. Thank you.
Anyone further? So motion is receive, adopt, and confirm the appointment. I'll have the clerk call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting to confirm to fill the seat.
Bartley?
Yes.
Ibner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Out of the room.
Okay. Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
11 yeas.
For your vote, you approve that one. 13C, Committee on
Mr.
Public...
President, I don't want to step on talk. Can we suspend
Could we suspend the rules and take item, the late file E
Yeah.
with that?
E, late file E.
Please. And could you read that, Mr. President?
All right, so motion to suspend the rules, take up late file E. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This is a communication from the Law Department. Honorable members of the City Council, the city charter requires all officers of the city have been residents for 2 years, Chapter 45. Despite this unclear reference, which provides no definition of 2-year residency, such as 2 years having been concurrent or consecutive, the specific provision would still be applicable to original city officers enumerated specifically in the original charter. A broader reading of the residency provision beyond offices identifies that the original charter would then make it applicable to all current non-union employees and volunteers of the city government. It is also unclear if this applies. This limitation would survive a court challenge due to the lack of specificity of defining the residency or resident. Absent specific inclusion as an office created under the original charter, the 2-year provision would not apply to any after created positions. Thus, any jobs, commissioners, boards are created after adoption of the charter would not be subject to the rule. After the planning board was the result of both a state legislative enactment of the city ordinances created after the city charter, it follows that the 2-year charter rule would not apply to the eligibility of its members. It should be noted that the council may also add this requirement to ordinances created in new position in committees or positions created since the charter was adopted. The council may also eliminate the charter rule by adopting a home rule petition, also addressing the 2-year language. I hope this answers your question concerning the appointment of the planning board. Please feel to contact me if you have any questions. Mike Bissonette, City Solicitor's Office.
So motion is to receive.
Motion is to
second.
receive that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Back to 11C. This is a letter from the mayor appointing Nathan Chung to serve as a planning board member, replacing John Kelly, which will be a 3-year term, which expires June 30th, 2025.
Motion to receive and confirm the appointment
Motion to
of
receive and
Mr. Nathan
confirm.
Chung.
Under discussion, Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, Nathan came in here personally last week for this appointment from the mayor. He's a grant administrator in the city of Northampton. He has some experience in urban region planning. He's very open about what he wants to do. He has the time and the commitment. I asked him if he had the time with his full-time position to do this, and I think that the mayor made an excellent choice. He's fairly a new resident. I think he moved here last September. That's why the call came up to check the charter by Councilor Bartley to see if this would affect him by serving on the board. And as the letter stated, I believe that he would be okay to serve on the on the Planning Commission.
Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, just thanks the law department for turning that around pretty quickly. The nominee this is a volunteer board. This is a qualified person, and I think I'm glad that the mayor found him. I'm glad the guy stepped up.
All right. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you. I think it's just speaking for the resume of Mr. Chung and the credentials, and maybe some of that grant writing experience can rub off into the room next to where the planning board meets. But it's a good appointment by the mayor, and certainly welcome him into the atmosphere of some very important planning that takes place in the city of Holyoke. Unpaid role with a lot of hours and a lot of time that it requires. I'd be remiss, though, if I didn't say that he's replacing one of our longtime planning members who has been a stalwart in terms of keeping the planning board focus on what the mission of the city of Holyoke is trying to accomplish, which is to blend residential, blend business, and blend everyone together so that we have a healthier community. John Kelly has served on the board. I don't know the exact years, but I know it's multiple decades. And I think we owe him a depth of gratitude for all the time he did serve.
Councilor Bacon.
And I will support this nominee, but I also want to comment that since I've been chairing ordinance again and working with Mr. Kelly as chair of planning, we have worked very collaboratively. We've held many joint hearings to help to facilitate the processing of various activities between the two parts of our organizations in terms of moving things forward. And I just want to thank him for that.
Anyone for Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't say some remarks on Mr. Kelly too. I certainly haven't had a love affair with Mr. Kelly and some of his actions that he's done, but I'll say this, I certainly respect his hard work and his commitment to the city, and I want to publicly thank him for his effort.
Anyone? Councilor Murphy-Ramaletti.
I just have more of a clarifying question. Is this term, it says 3 years, but for some reason I felt like there's planning board terms that are for 5 years. Am I wrong?
It says it's to replace John Kelly and will serve the 3-year term. So
I was just
think
on
it's
the
filling.
I was just on the website for planning, and it says that John's term expires 6/30/2022. And I'm going to vote in favor of this. It was just more of a clarification thing on the term.
Councilor McGivern?
I'm not sure, but I think if we check, I think he may have stepped down. So maybe it opened it up.
Yeah, we'll confirm.
Just double check, yeah.
And then update it accordingly.
Cool. Thank
So
you.
what this is, motion is receive, adopt, and confirm the appointment of Mr. Chung to replace John Kelly. This one, we don't need a roll call for this one, do we? I know there are certain ones we do in this one, or some we don't.
I thought we did it.
All right, so we'll do a roll call just in case. So
Yeah, I thought we
clerk will
did
call
for
roll.
us.
If you vote yes, you're voting to confirm.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Out of the room.
Why are we doing roll calls for these?
I know
To be
some
safe.
were, some weren't. That's why I asked.
Just to be
I
safe.
asked.
Be safe, yeah.
This
I
one
asked.
definitely is not, but okay. Well,
It isn't?
Yeah,
Okay.
No.
I was right.
Todd, you were right, yeah.
No one listens.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tallman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
You approved that one. 13D, Committee on Public Service from the mayor appointing Thomas Wilson to the Library Board of Directors to replace Stephanie Marcotte, which will serve until February 2024. Waiting disposition.
Motion to receive and confirm the appointment.
Motion to receive and grant confirm. Councilor Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Many of us know Mr. Thomas Wilson, better known as Toby. he's talking about, we had him on Zoom talking about many years of getting to the library. I think like a lot of us that grew up in Holyoke, going to the different libraries and different, I think he's mentioned the one up in Elmwood, right down the street from him on Northampton Street. He mentioned the benefits that the library has to the city of Holyoke. He's already done 2 meetings on Zoom at the library board meetings, and really was promoting, try to get more community involvement in the library. I mean, you know, years ago, the library was a place where people used to meet and have events, community networks and community meetings. He's really trying to promote that again. And of course, reading, he's a phenomenal reader. He's somebody that really wants to see the best for the city of Holyoke and bringing the youth. You know, reading is everything. So the earlier the better that our youth can start reading is beneficial to our school children.
All right. So motion is receive, adopt, confirm the appointment. Councilor McGivern.
Just a great appointment. Certainly Toby has served on a number of commissions over the years. It's nice to see him back in the saddle, and as Councilor Tallman said, I know he's a staunch reader and certainly understands the importance of having a good library in the community.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? E, F, and G, do you want to take up because they're complied with?
Can we just take up E? Just on a couple.
E
thanks.
first?
Yeah, I'll be brief, yeah.
All right, so E is Committee on Public Service referred in order to a town hall, quarterly town hall where residents will be able to express their concerns with more time allocated for public comment. It says waiting disposition, but did say it was complied with. So.
Yeah, it is complied with, and I contacted Councilor Maldonado Velez before the meeting if he wants to give a brief talk. But Councilor Bartley and I stated what we thought about town meetings, the town hall, office hours that we should do. I know years ago I did an office hour at the fire station my first term many years ago, and had it. I think the state senator, state rep does that where they have the office hours at the senior center or wherever. It used to be at the soldiers' home. So it's part of logistics. How do we do this? I know he's brought this up because 1.5 minutes not really a lot of time for somebody to give public speak out. So I'll turn it over to him. I think it's something that we can follow up and maybe something we can do, maybe annually or biannually. We can get people together. But Councilor?
Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. So thank you, Councilor Bartley and Chair Tallman, for the discussion on Thursday's meeting. This is one of the first orders I had put in when starting the council. 2 things happened, 2 different orders were put in since then that sort of shifted my thinking around what to do with this one. One of them is a order that Councilor Bartley had put in around requesting that we have a meeting around putting up a new school in the neighborhood that we are going to be building a new school. I don't think it was an order that we actually followed through with, but it's similar with this, where it's about instituting, having some sort of public meeting, probably town hall discussion with people in the community. A second order that was put in the last couple of months was by President McGee, where it was requesting that HGNE comes in and speaks to members of the community around the tree and the electric lighting and all this stuff. So basically, what was decided or what I suggested is, or at this last meeting, is we can do complied with. For me, I would just put in an order to be more intentional as far as like which departments we would like to create some sort of town hall with. I think that we were all in agreement with getting community input is very important. One note that I made during the meeting is that, yeah, there's 13 of us here, or 12 of us now here that were elected, but the reality is it's impossible for us to come up with the ideas of 40,000 people in our community. So as much input as we can get into the public record to really, say this is what people are thinking in our community, it would be great. But I think some of the concerns around like timing and logistics were very fair. So complied with when I come back with a more intentional order in a town hall around issues. I know we mentioned housing. Some people mentioned housing today. That may be the town hall. So that's where I'm at with this order. Thank you.
I just got to notice on my watch it's time for me to stand up. Right, just Councilor Bartley.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we had a pretty good discussion on this order. I made my comments that night. I'm not going to repeat them, except for the fact that I hope we can get rid of the phrase town hall. I just think that's a weaponized thing, and I think that thinks, people think they come in and yell, and this is no good. I made a second point that if we're going to do these things, you should have a chair that knows how to run a meeting, and the chair is going to have to control attendees at a meeting, because it's supposed to be respectful, no matter how hot your feelings are. There's got to be some decorum, and I think that's pretty vital. And I think the last thing I said is that I had, when I first started my tenure here, I had 55 in-person Ward 3 meetings with department heads, the clerk, the mayors, the chiefs of departments, and all sorts of things, the receiver, all sorts of special guests, sheriff. So everyone was respectful to every single guest, and the questions were tempered, they were firm, but they elicited information, as opposed to a yell fest and getting it off your chest. Well, that's not hopefully what this is about, but that's how town halls are portrayed. So I kind of like what Pete just said, office hours, something just can be run, so we can hear. I think we're in an echo chamber quite often in this room, but I think we need to really put a lot of thought in and planning as to how these are going to be pulled off, and I think we do, they can be very successful. Thank you.
Councilor Rivera.
I would just like to thank Councilor Maldonado for filing this order. It's unfortunate that it didn't get to move to another step further where we can actually have more community input. But I'm looking forward to tagging on to the next order that you file. For me, community input, whether it's town hall or community meeting, whatever you call it, it's vital to our community, especially for those that don't have the time to come down when we do schedule these meetings. And for me, I feel that with one, whatever you call it, meeting, and then another one, and then another one, over time, it'll become something that the community overall, like themselves, become involved with, and who knows what form it'll take in the future to help resident engagement with pretty much local politics. Thank you.
Councilor Tallman.
Thank you. I just want to state that I think you mentioned something tonight. That could be one of our first community meetings at the Elks next Thursday. So, I mean, that's one of the hub meetings the mayor invited, and I think all the councilors, everybody got that email. There'll be all different types of people up there, and
the Elks
I think
is too
that
far
could
for
be,
me.
And it might be something that could be the start of something new, something good. Yeah.
Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make one final point, which was what Councilor Jourdain actually mentioned when this order was first filed, is that Section 8 in our charter actually allows the members of the public to write a petition, create a petition, and request a public meeting to happen as long as there's 50 signatures in that petition. So I just want to, put that out to the public record that as we're discussing this town hall, town meeting, whatever we want to call it, that the public has the power to really ask us for a public meeting. It doesn't have to come from us, it can come from the public itself. So I just wanted to mention that, and if you had any members of the public any questions around that, come to me. Thank you.
Anyone further?
Motion that's been complied with.
Motion that's been complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Could I take F and G? I'm just going to do a brief synopsis of the meeting that night. It is complied with, but I just want to make a statement.
Motion is to take up F and G as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? F is public safety. Was referred in order that Representative of MIFA Victory Theater come before the Public Service Committee to discuss where the theater stands funding. That's complied with. And then G is Victory Theater appear before City Council, provide an update on the status of the theater. So motion is receive, adopt. That's been complied with. Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, just real briefly, these are brought up by a couple of our former colleagues, Howie B. Graney Jr. and James M. Leahy back in October last year, and I thought it was important to bring these up. And even though it's June here, a little bit late, but we did have Mr. Saunders on Zoom. Unfortunately, he was like in his van or something, I think, and half the meeting got garbled. The connection wasn't there, and I found out tonight in our Wizard of Oz room that if somebody's going in from somewhere distant or in a vehicle, to call in and just dial in instead of doing the phone with the video. You can hear it much clearer. So, but I asked him for like maybe a one-page letter stating where they're at right now, the funding they're making. I mean, every year we have them in, it seems like, oh, it's next year, and you know, there's a lot of funding that still needs to be made. I just want to state that they did purchase the building right next door on Chestnut Street to the north of them, took that building down, and they're going to have like an office building there, and they're going to have dressing rooms. You know, Mr. Saunders really feels that this is something that's going to happen. It'd be a great benefit and impact on Holyoke and the region. I think the nearest theater we have is the Bushnell down in Connecticut. And he also stated that up in Schenectady, New York, was just really showing a big revitalization in that city. Only about an hour west of us, hour and a half, is the Proctor Theater. They're looking at trying to get some money, some ARPA funds. There's millions of dollars there, but it's, you know, it's not easy doing that. It sounded like within possibly December 31st of 2024, if they get the funding, they could be opening up the theater. So, I mean, more on that down the road. I'm looking forward to the letter. I asked Jeff to get that information from Mr. Saunders. Hopefully we'll get that, and I'll get that to all the counselors. But we did have a good discussion, even though it was somewhat garbled, right, David? I mean, but we got something out of it. And he will be forwarding that. I'll get that out to everybody.
All right, anyone further? It's a motion that these are complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now on to Committee on Charter and Rules. 15A, Committee on Charter and Rules refer that the City Council review, reorganize, and that the titles are added. Recommend it be adopted. So motion be receive, adopt. Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. So 15A was one of the first orders I had put in. It's gone through a couple different iterations within our committee, but 15A that you should have in front of you should be the final changes to the rules and orders of the Holyoke City Council. As mentioned in the committee, there was no actual changes to any language as far as like what the rules are. The only thing that happened was, I'll be honest, what I did, I cut up all the rules and I reorganized them to make them make sense as far as like what goes with what, or what sort of topics match with each other. So it turned out into 10 different topics, and this is where we're at right now. I know in the last committee meeting, there are already some questions on some of the rules that have been here for a while, so I'm hoping that this rule doesn't just, this new change doesn't just help us new counselors really see more clearly what the rules are, but also veteran counselors to see some of the rules that sort of either may contradict each other or are just, lack of a better word, a mess. And I think this is the backbone of how our council runs, our operational backbone of our council. So I think it's important that they're as organized and straightforward as possible so that we can continuously have our procedures be good within our body. So thank you.
Anyone further? Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, supporting this, commend the committee for its work. I would just say that the logic behind the old system was the council, being a body that likes tradition, kept the original format from the 1800s that started with Rule 1 and just grew the rules as that way. And so this is a change, obviously. Actually, in the history of the council, this is actually a really big deal because we've always sort of had Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, and continued with that format, and that's just sort of continued over the years. But, you know, although I like tradition, I get it. There's acceptance of doing things new ways, but this is sort of the reason why you had the old style of doing things on the council was just when new rules were made, they were added as rule, 47, 48, 49. They just kept the original format from the original city councils and Board of Aldermen from many, many years ago. But tonight we start a new tradition, and that's okay.
Anyone further? Councilor McGivern.
Just thank Councilor Maldonado Velez and also the committee for doing this. Change can be good. Change can be tough for many of us traditionalists, but at the same time, understanding and being able to look at this is very important. One thing I'll note that was when I first started with rules, there was only 37, and I think the additional rules is what made this a little bit cumbersome to understand.
Anyone further?
What did I say?
You didn't say anything. It's Councilor Tallman was back at his old job of
Out of
delivering the
retirement.
mail. I just
I do miss it, but we had a couple.
He delivers.
They might-
Slogan still works.
They might be about 2 weeks old, but at least we'll get them to you.
I'd like to file in late order.
Something's never changed with letter carriers.
So this one is to receive, adopt, and accept the reorganization of the rules. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? 15B, Committee on Charter and Rules, was referred that we rename Joint Committee, School Committee to Youth Services or something similar. Make sure we comply with Rule 65 for Youth Ambassador to the City Council. Recommend that be adopted. Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, President McGee. I would just note real quick now, Rule 65 is actually Rule 10C, so I just wanted to make that quick note. This was actually taken up with other items in the committee right now to add other type of committees within our body. So this was actually the one that probably got the least amount of conversation because I think we all were sort of on agreement as far as one, making sure that we do have the youth voice part of it and believing that the joint school / city council committee should be the one that sort of helps leads this. What I would, so I'll just leave it at that for this one.
Anyone further? Seeing none, so motion was recommended that be adopted. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We take up motion to suspend the rules and take up items 15C, D, E, and F together.
Motion to suspend rules, take up C, D, E, and F as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? C, charter orders for purpose of determining voting majority and supermajority. City Council accept any members that have properly abstained from debate to the vote. And these locations are Rule 35 and 36. Recommended was complied with. D is that Rule 38 be amended by striking the supermajority. Recommended be complied with. E is that that we change our rules to pass ordinances other than zone changes by simple majority. Recommended be complied with. F is that we add the city council rule requires unanimous vote to continue meetings past 10 p.m. Recommended be complied with. Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. So these were all complied with. The first three were usually taken up together during the committee meetings. At this point, we just said complied with. Those are sort of the decision of the committee and just in conversation with the maker of the order as well as we get more information. And any of us want to revisit the simple majority, whether it be 2/3, 3/5, whatever we decide. The suggestion was to put it in order again. And then 15F was more of a conversation at that point in the committee. I think we have done pretty well so far this term, not being past midnight or even 11 o'clock at night sometimes. I mean, we have had 1 or 2 meetings, but overall, I think this is a rule that's not currently needed. But as I mentioned in the committee, if we ever have to revisit it, then we all have the option to put it in again in just a little different language. Complied with all 4.
I'll make a motion that we unanimously continue the meeting. It's after 10 o'clock.
Complied with.
Complied with.
So
Someone said that we're going to be out here at midnight, but I'm going to say 10:45. So.
So a motion that these have been complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There is no joint committee. On to motions, orders, resolutions. If it's going to committee, don't debate it. With that said, First one is from Councilor Maldonado Velez, Councilor Givner, order that the City Council add a section for battery storage facilities to the zoning ordinance. So this would go to ordinance.
Ordinance.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
We did this. Oh, no, we didn't do this. Nope.
18 from
Motion
my-
to take 18 and 19 together as a package and.
Motion to take
Second.
up 18 and 19 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 18 from myself. Order that Rule 1 of the City Council be suspended for the purpose of the City Council going on summer recess from July 5th, from the meetings of July 5th, 19th, and August 16th. They will be canceled. And 19 is for myself as well, from the City Council. That City Council September 6th meeting be canceled due to the state primary. Motion would be receive and adopt.
So moved.
Mr.
President.
Councilor
Second.
Murphy Ramboletti first.
I just have a question. This is, surprise. I'm a new person who has another question. But does that mean basically that we're meeting once between now and,
October.
the second September meeting is also canceled because of the Big E Day? Are we going to meet at all?
So, for summer recess, we'll meet the first meeting in August.
Right.
Committees can still meet as
Sure.
much as they want.
Yep.
With regards to the September meeting, because you have the state primary, it's required that the
Right.
clerk's office uses, so there will be no meeting.
Right.
As far as the Big E Day, we voted to
Yeah, no, I
take that.
yeah.
However, we can always call a special meeting to put stuff on to accommodate for the loss of the meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Maldonado Velez?
Well, I guess my motion was gonna be, can we call? We have all of July off, and I know we can meet as committees, but I just feel like, at the very least, that's one meeting in 3 months. So I wanted to see if I can make a motion to have the September meeting move to Wednesday, the 7th. Is that something?
So
we
that's
can
kind
do?
of hard because
Or-
you still
Not
have
in
the
order anyhow.
equipment and everything else out there. It
Yeah.
makes it more difficult not only for us but the clerk's office to be able to get a meeting ready. So we've learned that in the past.
But we decide at our August meeting, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And that's typically, and we've had this problem before, but I definitely think the intent is to have a September meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, we got to think it through on what we're going to have for dates.
So the first August meeting is the Midnight Madness meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at that meeting, we can say, hey, look, these are the following things that are still missing. We should have it on September, whatever.
Cool.
Anyone further?
On the motion.
Oh, hold on. Jeffrey has once again told me my president report was absent something. August 4th, we're looking to have that joint meeting to appoint the vacancy of Ward 3.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
August 4th.
August 4th, yeah.
Mayor has to call that, and the mayor did email today confirming August 4th is the date he would like. Resumes, if there are people, once again, we said this in the last meeting, if someone is looking to apply for that position, send your resume and cover letter to the HR department. They will gather it up and give it to us prior to the meeting. So with that, for 18 and 19, motion is to receive and adopt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, just
Yes.
a point of information. So for the appointment to the Ward 3 position, does that mean that a resume and a letter are required? Or is
No.
this an appointment with the vote just as we've always done it?
So, very good question. I mean, we're trying to do it where if someone is looking for the position, at least we get some information. The night of the meeting, August 4th, they will come in before us, the joint committee, who have both groups here, and like we did, I think it was actually Dennis Burks was the one filling a seat. Just give some information. I think we gave it like a time limit of, I'm making this up, 5 minutes, call it, for each candidate. And then after the candidates give their information, you vote, but you can vote for whoever you want. It might be someone who's not even applied.
I just wanted to clarify the process. Thanks.
Anyone further? All right. Back to orders, 20 from myself as well, that the City Council review section 7.10 of the marijuana facilities to ensure that the review process is business sensible.
Ordinance.
So that would be the ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 21 we did do.
You suspend the rules, please, Mr. President, and take 22, 23, and 24 as a package for adoption.
Second.
Motion to suspend rules, take up 22, 23, and 24 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 22 is $20,447.63 from Lieutenant Sergeant Patrolman to injured on duty, of which that would be 6. 23 is $19,721.19 from Lieutenant Sergeant Patrolman to injured on duty. That would represent 8. And 24 is from firefighters to injured on duty, $2,330.34, representing 1. Motion is receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the seems every meeting vote where we're just switching salary dollars from the line item known as salaries for firefighters and police officers into a injured on duty just to for accounting purposes of when a firefighter or police officer is being paid, although they are injured on duty. Councilor Jordan made a good point earlier about workman's comp and things that are going on, the difference with, not difference, but one of the good things about injured on duties is each of these individuals are required to go and be vetted by an independent review board as to what their injury was, and the determination is made as to when they can go back on duty almost immediately. Many of these are something that happens on the weekend. Obviously, they can't go back to work until Monday morning when they are in front of the board and are reviewed, but there is an accounting mechanism in place for our injured on duty public safety people.
Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. If I can, to the Chair of Finance, it just seems like in one of the lines in the police department under the sergeant that there's been a consistent amount for quite a while. And I'm just wondering if there's any resolution coming on that. Not that I want to go out of order into any personnel matter, but we don't usually see the same thing coming up a lot. And so I'm just wondering if that question can be put over to the chief, maybe by Finance Committee.
We can ask the chief. Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, again, I'm going to file some orders, coming attractions, if you will, brace yourself. I'm going to file some orders relative to just root cause analysis of a lot of these. Keep, again, all the names out of it. That's really not relevant. The issue is why. Why do we have so many injuries? Why do we have so much you hear things, well, such and such a door fell on somebody, this and that, da-da-da. I mean, it's just all these different things, and you're saying to yourself, okay, who's checking to make sure all these things are fixed, that somebody got hurt, did this happen again? I just think we need to start asking those questions, because this is getting to be just a little bit, yes, I get the accounting piece of it. I trust people that are going to get paid what they should get paid. But from the city's perspective, what are we doing, one, to say to these department heads, are you creating a safe culture in your department? And when a problem exists, did you reverse engineer that to make sure that doesn't happen again? Or how are we reducing this? And that's what I'm really looking at from these. And I know we're doing a police department audit, and I'm asking some questions about the fire department too, because it's also getting into questions about how are they operating, and just asking questions about things that I'm concerned are creating a culture of safety. So I think we need to start diving into this a little bit more as a city council, that we're doing right by the taxpayers and these employees and their coworkers. Thank you.
Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Yeah, I completely agree with Councilor Jordan. We really need to be looking at why these employees, why are there so many high numbers? I mean, it's not, for me, it's not so much about the money. It's about, are we waiting for one of these employees to get killed? Like, because that's going to be a lot more than the numbers we're looking at right now. And for a point for Councilor Jordan, I would also look at surrounding municipalities to see what their numbers look like, how are they handling it, so that way we can get a grasp at what's actually going on here.
Right.
And feel free to copy me onto your orders. Thank you.
All right, so motion is that, Councilor Tomlin.
Yeah, I agree with Councilor Jordan 100%. I mean, we got to follow up on these things that are happening. I mean, anybody that works in a job or works a physical job outside or whatever, they have, safety records, health and safety. My big thing was with the fire department, police department, how are we keeping our place healthy? How are we keeping them strong and safe? Because a healthy employee is going to stay well, is going to show up at work. And you start getting injuries, now you're short bodies, now you're using more overtime. So it's definitely, I think, following up with the supervisors or the chiefs of different departments, or even the DPW. Why is this person hurt? How can we fix this? How do we make it better? Is it equipment? Is it because we don't have the help to fix the equipment? Or is it the employee that's not focused on what he's supposed to be doing? So it's important. I think we have to really work harder on that to try to make this better.
Councilor Rivera.
I would just like to thank Councilor Jordan for bringing this up. This is something that I brought up like maybe about 4 months ago. But hopefully it'll catch weight. It'll catch some, whatever you want to call it, and
momentum.
There you go, some momentum, and we could start actually acting on some of this stuff because it is ridiculous. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to a number of these counselors, Mr. President, and let's come up with some wording and what we feel comfortable and get the right people in. We have an attorney with Metatrol, these department heads. Start really kind of putting our heads together and thinking this through and find out why and what we can do to improve. So look forward to working with them on it.
All right, so with regards to these three, motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk call, if you vote yes, you're voting for those three.
Bartley?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Maldonado Velez?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
McGivern?
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Tolman?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
We vote you approve those three. 27 from myself, that the City Council review Section 5.3 special permits to exceed height limitations in order to allow increased building height for all uses and additional zoning districts, ensuring the allowable height may be increased by the planning board special permit. So this would be the
Ordinance.
Ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
28 from Councilor McGivern, hereby accept the winter recovery grant, or RAP, $445,008 to finance.
Receive, refer to Committee on Finance. It was the suggestion of our city engineer.
All right, so this is to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
30 is from Councilor Murphy Ramboletti, or that the council hereby, in accordance with Master General Law 30B, declare 267 Elm Street surplus property. So to DGNR.
Yes, please.
All those in favor?
Aye.
31 from Councilor Bacon, that our city engineer recommend traffic calming measures for Whiting Farms Road. So receive, adopt, send to the engineer.
Adopt and send to the engineer and public safety.
And public safety. So receive, adopt, send to the engineer and to public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 32 from Councilor Bacon, order that the city engineer evaluate the area of Cherry and Dale Street for speeding calming measures. In the Holyoke Police Department enforce speeding. Pedestrians and drivers are reporting drivers traveling at high speeds. So this would be
To receive and adopt and send to the police department and to public safety, please.
all right. So receive, adopt, send to city engineer, PD, and to public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? 33 from Councilor Bacon, or that the radar, speed radar machine be placed at Cherry Street near Bowden Village at the intersection of Dale. So receive, adopt, and send to HPD.
So I just want to amend that because I said on the Bowden Village side, but I think they just need to decide where is the best place, because it might actually be on the other side. Because people are saying they're almost getting hit in the crosswalk. So normally, I mean, they could be going either way, but I would defer to the police department where they think is the best place to place it. Thanks.
So do you want to just strike
Just
out?
eliminate Bowden Village
All right.
side, please.
So amending the order to read radar machine on Cherry Street near the curve, striking out Bowden Village side. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And so to receive and adopt and send to the police department and public safety, please.
Motion is receive, adopt, send to the police department to put the radar machine in and to public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 34 from Councilor Bacon, order that the lines on Route 202, right-hand side towards Westfield be painted ASAP. So this would be receive, adopt, send to DPW.
Yes, and public safety, please.
And to public safety. All
Because what's happening is when they get sent over, I don't know where they're going, and they need to be in a committee.
Okay.
You know, so we know where they are.
All right,
Thanks.
so all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 35 from Councilor Bacon, that the crosswalk painted on County Road near number 90, it has not been painted for a number of years, so receive, adopt,
And send to DPW.
send to DPW. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 37, order from Councilor Bacon, order that the traffic enforcement be increased due to increased number of accidents and reported failure of drivers to obey the traffic laws, exceeding speeds, failure to stop at stop signs, failure to yield. A quarterly report of tickets issued is requested. So
So I'd like to receive and adopt and send this to the police department and the public safety committee, and I'm hoping that maybe this will be addressed also as part of the audit.
Councilor Jordan.
Can I make a friendly amendment to this to ask, what would be the cost to add another full-time traffic enforcement officer? I'm troubled by the fact, and I don't know if it troubles others, but that we only have one. And I don't know, traffic enforcement is like a perennial complaint I'm getting from constituents about things that are going on in the city. And what would be the cost associated with doing that? And it probably pays for itself in the form of enforcement actions anyway. So could we add an amendment to ask if they could do an analysis of what the cost would be to add enhanced resources in traffic enforcement? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to issue some tickets and talk to some drivers.
All right, so amending at the end that the Holyoke Police Department provide a cost analysis of adding a new traffic officer.
Yep.
On that, Councilor McGivern?
I mean, I agree with it. I've listened to so many counselors, and I think all of us know that traffic has been an ongoing problem. Councilor Givner in Ward 4 has taken on a one-person brigade against what's going on in Ward 4, but it's throughout the city, you know, and it's time. And I agree with Councilor Jordan's amendment here, but it wasn't that long ago we had a traffic bureau that was 24/7. And you know, and maybe in the third shift there was only one person assigned, but daytime there was 2 or 3 that handled. You know, if you had to go to get a police report about an accident, you could go in and talk to someone. If you had to talk to someone if there was an accident, they would report to it. The second shift was the most important because that's where most of the violations are occurring, and they put extra police cruisers on the road from the traffic bureau doing radar, looking for traffic problems, they didn't have to respond to other things except emergencies. And they stopped doing the traffic bureau and said we can't afford it. Well, I think it's the opposite. We can't afford not to have a traffic bureau.
That's right.
Councilor Rivera.
I would like to, I would ask if within the 92 officers, if they could come up with the money for that same situation if they don't fill the whole 92 officers. Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, it's been a while since they've actually filled the full 92 officers. To add more money to the budget to hire a whole new person doesn't make any sense to me unless they fill the 92 officers. So just like to add my...
Councilor Bacon.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not looking really to add more officers than what we've already approved in the budget. It's more a resource allocation question.
Councilor Jordan.
Thanks.
But I think Councilor Rivera raises a good point. He makes the case that we have 83 now. We've budgeted 92. That leaves, 92, that's 9 people. Okay, put 7 of them on the street and take 2 of them and just put them on traffic enforcement, and we're a safer community. So, I agree. We already have these in the budget, but these are officers we don't currently have. So I think he's right, and we should do that. And that doesn't cost us anything.
So this is receive, adopt, send to HPD as well as public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 38 from Councilor Anderson Burgos that the DPW install a raised sidewalk at the intersection of Linden Street and West Franklin. So this would be
Public
GPW?
Public
safety?
It's a public safety.
And copy DPW.
And copy to DPW. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 39 for Councilor Anderson Burgos that the HPD come before Public Safety Committee to discuss patrolling of West Franklin Street. There's speeding accidents. So this would be to public safety, copy to HPD.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 40 from Councilor Anderson Burgos that JPT patrol Florence Ave. The residents feel unsafe with the vehicles that have been cutting through and speeding. So motion be receive, adopt, send to HPD, and then a copy to public safety to get a report back. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
41 from Councilor Anderson Burgos that the DPW seek alternate solutions for rock salt. Salt is corrosion to the vehicles, roads. So this would be, do I have it in?
This one I'm not sure.
I have it in public safety, have them discuss it.
Yeah, we can bring it to public safety, but public safety.
Because that way we can figure out whether we can or
Copy to
cannot.
DPW, yeah.
Okay. So to public safety, copy to DPW. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 42 from Councilor Anderson Burgos at HPD. Come to the ordinance meeting to discuss the noise ordinance that applies to bikes.
Yeah.
All right. So to ordinance, copy to HPD. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 43 from Councilor Anderson Burgos that DPW place a sidewalk between 38 and 40 Ardendale Ave. So that would be receive, adopt, send to DPW.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 44 from Councilor Givner that the council review section 6.4 signs in its entirety in the order to make changes to the existing ordinance to further refine and streamline the signage regulations.
Ordinance.
To ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
45 from Councilor Jordan that the fire chief, fire commissioner, please provide the following information to City Council within 30 days. Do any of the fire personnel of all ranks work second jobs that exceed 30 hours per week? If yes, how many? How does the department manage second full-time obligations when the ordinance of 235 states that fire class and public safety groups are supposed to be working 48-hour schedule? So this would be to
receive, adopt, refer to the fire chief and commission with a copy to public safety. Again, this is just trying to, this is going to the question of fatigue, workplace fatigue on my safety issue. When you're working greater than 80 hours, do we have anybody like that? So that's what the question is plumbing into here.
Can we maybe send that to legal too?
Well, how about we instead of receive, adopt, just receive, send to public safety, to fire, commissioners, and legal, and then have legal get back to us. And then that way, once
Sure.
all's done, we'll do
Yeah,
from there.
so we can send, receive, refer to the copy to the fire chief, fire commission, and to the public safety committee, and to legal. Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
From Councilor Jordan, that the city council create an ordinance that creates food truck zones in the city with a goal of eliminating food desserts, managing the locations, and promoting various neighborhoods. So
Ordinance?
To ordinance, all those in favor?
Aye. Can I be signed on to that?
Yep. Hold on.
Yep.
When I first read this, Mr. President, I thought Councilor Drain wanted to get rid of dessert.
This is actually to promote it. It's just to kind of give, we talked about this in the ordinance committee.
All right, so adding Councilor Maldonado Velez, all those in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? All right. 247 from Councilor Jordan, that the law department please file legal opinion if the department can charge a fee for the use of city facilities and properties without authorization from the city council. So this would be receive, send to the legal department.
Copy to ordinance.
Copy to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 48 from Councilor Jordan, that the acting DPW superintendent please provide the city council and parking committee the following report for the 5-year prior, the amount of meter revenue and amount of parking garage revenue. So this would be receive and refer to finance, maybe?
Yeah, finance and probably a copy to the parking committee. Councilor Maldonado Velez, I believe, is our representative on that committee also.
So to the parking committee, DPW superintendent, and then off to finance. All
I get just a friendly amendment, if the maker is okay with it, that we get a list of the condition of parking meters and the kiosks that are for the parking deck and the offline parking space, parking lots.
Sure.
It's getting,
however you want to word it, Joe.
Yeah, how many meters are down and what's working, what's not working?
Exactly.
It's getting worse, and I don't see any move to replace them or to fix them.
Exactly. It's sort of just gone into an abyss of, we got this big problem. Okay, well, how many exactly? How much does it cost to fix? Let's come up with a solution.
All right, so amending at the end, adding also a list of parking meter updates, an update on the garage spaces and revenue.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Of which to DPW, to the committee, and to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 49 from Councilor Jordan, Councilor Vacan, that the ordinance be created to allow the fire chief contract, for a fire chief contract, and this ordinance to be established a salary range.
Ordinance.
To ordinance. All
Ordinance, yes.
Aye.
All opposed? 50 is from Councilor Jordan, that the PVTA be requested to replace their bus shelters on South Street at South Street Shopping Plaza.
Receive, adopt, and ask the administrative assistant if he could pen the letter to the PVTA, please.
Right, so motion is receive, adopt, have the city or have us send a letter to them. Do we want an update to a committee so we can just track it?
Sure.
Safety? Public
Yeah,
safety?
a copy to public safety.
And a copy to public safety.
Let us know when it's put in, because.
All those in favor?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, Councilor.
Could I be?
McGivern.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, Councilor McGivern.
Just if I could, quickly, under discussion, Mr. President, PVDA stops, all bus stops, whether it's community college, PVTA, or whoever, are supposed to be by ordinance. And we've known PVTA has occasionally snuck one in on us. This stop was always in the shopping center, which is much safer because there is no room for a bus to stop on South Street at that particular spot without cars having to go around, crossing over a double line into oncoming traffic. I know that's illegal, but that's what cars do. This always was in the shopping center over the years, and it made a lot more sense.
Yeah, Mr. President?
Councilor Farley.
Yeah, I just threw the chair to the maker. I did contact Ms. Sheehan at PVTA, and we've had her into DGR before years ago, and I've asked her to come back again if she's willing. I'm just waiting for a response. So I'm hopeful that PVTA will respond to my email. So it's been pending for a while, but I'll keep you posted.
Councilor Tallman, adding you.
I'm all set, and Councilor McGivern has actually got my
Okay.
thought on it.
Just that the riders in this location deserve to have their shelter, especially in inclement weather, and they've gone too long waiting, and I know a number have reached out to me to complain, so here's the order. So hopefully this will draw their attention to get it fixed.
All right, so this one is to receive, adopt, send the communication, but send it to public safety to get an update.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
51 from Councilor Jordan, Councilor Bacon, that the city clerk please work with the law department to double check that all ordinance discharge changes made over the prior 8 years actually made it into the Muni Code. This motion is to
Receive, adopt, refer to the clerk and law department.
receive, adopt, refer to the clerk, law department. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 52 from Councilor Jordan, that the police enforce the no parking regulation on Cherry Street near Bowden Village.
Receive, adopt, send to the police chief.
Motion to receive, adopt, send to police chief. All those, Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, Councilor Jordan, if I could be added onto that.
Oh,
order.
yeah, certainly.
I actually did, about a week ago, go by there. My daughter lives up off of George Frost Drive, and I was coming down towards, Homestead, and there was 1 or 2 cars over there, and there was a ticket on both of them, so.
Oh, that's good.
Which
So
is
it's
good.
working.
So it's starting to, it's starting to happen. I think sometimes you think that police might just drive by, but if they see a couple cars there, get a ticket, that person will unlikely, hopefully not park there again. But,
I did send an email to head off this order, so
well, I think it's working.
Maybe it's working.
It's working already.
Good.
You got a lot of power there, Kevin.
I don't know about that. Very tiny.
So adding Councilor Tallman, motion is receive, adopt, send to police. All those in favor?
Councilor Tallman wants to make a motion to adjourn. It's almost 10:45.
I'll second that.
We didn't adopt it. We're
We're
never
going to make it, I think. Yeah, we're going to make
We're
it.
getting there. So late files.
Me.
So this is just a communication from the mayor, order that the city repave West Cherry ASAP. It's an update on West Cherry and the procedures that we'll go through to kind of get that done.
Motion to receive.
Motion receive.
So motion is receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
B is from Councilor Manuel Velez and Councilor Jordan.
DG.
A resolution in support of eviction to seal and promote housing opportunity and mobility.
DGR.
That's a DGNR. All those
Yeah,
in favor?
the DGNR.
All opposed? C from Councilor Manuel Velez, Councilor Anderson Burgos, or that we create a food economic coalition, refer to ordinance.
Who was that second, Councilor?
Anderson Burgos.
Anderson Burgos.
Wait a minute, hold on. I want to hear that again. I'm sorry.
That must be a misprint. That's late file.
Lies, I tell you.
So two ordinance.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? D is from Councilor Manuel Velez, order that the city engineer study the intersection of Hamilton Street and Main Street in the hopes of adding safety measures. So this would be to, public safety, but receive, refer to the engineer and to public safety to get the information needed.
That works for now.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? G is from myself, that the city council asked the HR department to post a position for treasurer. You should have gotten a communication on that, I do believe.
Position of treasurer, that's news.
I guess.
I didn't, what?
There was a communication that the treasurer is resigning, I do believe it was July 14th.
I didn't see
if I remember the date.
Oh,
So
I didn't make it to the president's report.
Yeah.
It's been a busy day.
Oh, interesting.
So therefore,
Is that-
based on the quick research, it's the council that appoints someone until the special election.
That's in the charter, yep.
Clang, clang, clang goes the trolley.
Yep. So with that, actually what we should do, because it is a late file, motion would be suspend rules, take up final action, which is all those in favor, all opposed. That we send this off to personnel to post it, and then we at least we'll try and catch up to.
Have to pick a date
Yep.
to take some votes, do interviews.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Interesting.
H, order that and this is from myself, that the city DPW Public Safety Committee review, determine how Wyckoff Ave and Northampton Street, all right, so, sorry, I typed this up wrong. order that the city DPW Public Safety Committee review and determine how to close Wyckoff Ave from Northampton Street, similar to that was done on 202 because of the cut-through nature. Request of the constituents. So I'd say receive, refer to DPW, engineer, and send it to the Public Safety Committee.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Last one, I think, yep, late file J, from Councilor Rivera.
Must be for the swimming pool.
Now, order that the Honorable
Yeah.
City Council award a proclamation to the Hoyoke Youth Girls Softball League for their division championship.
All right.
So
I'll second
motion
that.
is suspend the rules, take up final action. All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is to approve the proclamation. All
Yes.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? With that, we have nothing else.
What was F?
What?
F was the $86,796 for the feasibility study for Peck in Lawrence.
Oh, I forgot that one.
Motion
The
adjourned.
motion is to adjourn. Don't debate it. All those in favor?
Have a nice summer, everybody. Yeah.
We stand adjourned. Have a good one, everyone.
Bon voyage.